They're not
Even
playing.
even a Curry 50 burger can't save them.
Yeah, they're not playing very good basketball right now. Basically, everybody except Curry sucks. I don't know what to tell you. It's bad.
That is wild that the Warriors have not won a game on the road this year.
They look like a team that was really, really happy with themselves to win the title last year. That's what they look like.
So do they look to you like a team that when we get past Christmas will
I don't know. I
kick it in
am
gear?
concerned about Klay Thompson. He went through a lot of injuries, and I just don't know what level he can return to. We saw flashes of him being okay in the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't know what he can return to. I don't know what Jordan Poole is still. He has really good moments, but I don't know if that's a guy you can count on consistently.
Yeah, the other night he had, 36 in a game?
Yeah, and then he goes over 5 last night and
Yeah.
has 2 points, right? So, Andrew Wiggins is Andrew Wiggins. If he's your second best player, you're in trouble. If he's your fourth best player, you win a championship. Draymond is okay. He's looked okay, which is surprising. I thought if there was anybody who fell off, it'd be him. But the problem is they changed their roster this season to allow your Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman pool to fill all of your important role player minutes. And those you've gotten outside of Poole, who's been good some, the other 3 guys you've gotten essentially nothing out of. I mean, Kuminga barely plays.
And
Wiseman's
in the
back
G
in the G League. Moody is getting like 5 minutes a game. So they decided, hey, these guys are ready, and it appears that they are not ready. So that's been a huge issue because their role player, that's one thing the Warriors have been really, really good at is filling the roster in around those guys. And if those 4 guys aren't ready, then they're not going to be very good. That's just no matter how good
Just
Curry is.
startling to see
It is.
them struggle.
They're like 6 and 9. They're bad. They're playing really bad basketball.
You know, there were 2 teams in basketball that lost last night where they don't lose very often, and when they do, it's like a major overreaction, or it's so startling you go, "Oh, what's going on?" The Warriors and Gonzaga. Now Gonzaga got run out of the arena down in Austin last night. But those 2 teams very rarely lose, and when they do, it's like a shock to the system.
Gonzaga looked like a team that was not – and listen, Texas played really well. Gonzaga played really poorly. I mean, I thought – and this is – maybe Texas is better than people gave him credit for, but I thought Gonzaga didn't look anywhere near where people were expecting. That seems like the drop-off that they had with – I mean, honestly, Nembhard not being there was a huge problem because their point guard play is really bad.
Remember what we talked about yesterday. The point guard, off guard, their guard play bad, period.
Really, really bad. And defensively, I think Chet Holmgren erased a lot more mistakes than people realized. He was a transcendent defensive player last year. Whether you like him as an NBA prospect or not sure how his body holds up in the NBA, whatever, as a college big man, he was a transcendent defensive player, and he covered up a ton of warts for that Gonzaga team. So I'm honestly, I'm more concerned about Gonzaga than I am about Golden State, because Golden State does still have Curry, and Curry still looks like he's prime, in good shape. The Warriors can always still pull the trigger on a deal with some of those young guys and try and retool this thing for another, hey, let's get Curry another one. I don't know what Gonzaga does because there's no fix on that roster right now, I don't think, unless some of those guys take a leap that we're not expecting.
It is a busy basketball night around here, and prepare yourself. Creighton plays at Texas in the Moody Center on December 1st. That place looks awesome.
It's the Bishop Bowl.
You ever been to the Drum? You ever been to? Have either one of you been to Austin? Which is a great city.
I'll say I'm sure
Jimmy
Jimmy
has.
Yeah,
many times done games.
Love Austin. So they moved out of the Drum, and they're in the Moody Center, which is basically across the street from the football stadium. That place is gorgeous.
I was looking forward to calling a game there this year before obviously moving up here. And so then watching a little bit of that last night, I realized, oh yeah, I'm going to get to go down there because we went to the Drum every year.
Texas and Chris Baird. Yeah, that's a nice little pairing.
No, it's a great situation.
They're going to be a problem. They started to become a problem last year. They're going to be a problem with him at that university.
Yeah, no, they're going to be really, really good. Obviously, he was really good at Texas Tech. I mean, if you can get Texas Tech to a final, then the things you can do at Texas are going to be even better. he's one of those rare guys that Texas has hired in any of their sports that is actually a really good fit and a really good, because he probably, I get he was coming off a really nice run at Texas Tech there, but he probably wasn't the biggest name they could get, but he was the best fit for them. I mean, that dude is an incredible basketball coach. And for the type of guys you can get at Texas, Chris Beard coaches those type of guys really well.
People preach being physical and having a tough mindset.
That's
who he is.
Yeah.
And he can be an absolute jerk.
And the thing is, at Texas, for the most part, they don't care about college basketball. So you have to do something to get them engaged. And Chris Beard has done that. And on top of that, everything you just said, and it's really good basketball. So you begin this love affair between the fans, the students, and the program and him. It's an absolute perfect fit. Exactly what he just said. I mean, it is the guy they needed to hire.
And here's the big difference between what he could get at Texas and what he could get at Texas Tech is he could get the guys, the athletes, the length at Texas Tech to play the kind of defense he wants to play. He can get guys at Texas that have that length and athleticism, but also have the skill set to score. At Texas Tech, he wasn't getting a ton of those guys that could actually score. Even Jarrett Culver, who was a really high draft pick, he was pretty raw from a skill set standpoint. He's getting guys at Texas that can actually put the ball in the hole, in addition to having all the physical features that he wants to play his kind of smothering style of defense. They're going to be really, really good.
And they have NIL. They got the NIL point guard of the year in Tyrese Hunter from Iowa State, who went off for 26 last night. I mean, they spent a lot of money to pry him away from Iowa State. I mean, that's well known in Ames and Austin that Tyrese Hunter had a large number attached to him when he left Ames to go to Austin.
And that's just not the temperature.
Well, he's really, really good. He was good last year on a Sweet 16 team, and you saw it again last night. And Texas is man, that they're going to be a problem. And that game on December 1st, that's going to be a great game when Creighton goes down there. Creighton is in action tonight before they go to Maui. They take on UC Riverside. And Nebraska is on the East Coast as part of the Gavitt Games, the Big Ten Big East. The Big Ten is off to a good start with their 4-1.
Yeah, they're playing really well. The Big East isn't doing well this year.
Iowa last night beat Seton Hall. Looked really good offensively again. We're really good defensively. But tonight is one of those nights where this is the first time that Nebraska basketball has been on TV. They're on FS1. We get a little dose of Tim Brando tonight.
A little Brando with your Nebraska ball?
Tim Brando like at 5:30 this afternoon. So it's one of those games where like Nebraska's played 2 games. So they played Maine and Omaha, and both were on BTN Plus. Now they are out there where everybody can watch them. So collectively tonight will be the first time that fans are going to watch Nebraska basketball. And I will be curious on how first Nebraska plays against a team that looks different from the first 2 teams they played, that's going to speed them up, which nobody has sped them up in the first 2 games, is how people react to Nebraska basketball. Because I think there'll be a large viewing audience because it'll be the first time to watch them. But how long does Nebraska basketball keep you there? Because like of all these matchups in the Gavitt Games, like Nebraska St. John's is kind of intriguing to me. And I think it's a good test for Nebraska as part of a very aggressive schedule. But so sit back, relax. Collectively at 5:30 tonight, we'll all watch Nebraska basketball for the first time. And there will probably be some wild overreactions because we've done that before. And we usually it's early in the year. Remember last year, the North Carolina State multi-overtime game with a near fight or kind of a little skirmish, and how it seemed like everybody was watching that because that was the first time that you could watch Nebraska on regular TV.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this goes because I could kind of see this going either way for Nebraska because St. John's has a tendency to make undisciplined teams look really, really bad. And Nebraska has fallen in that category for much of the Fred Hoiberg era, I think. And so I'll be interested to see if this version of Nebraska is still susceptible to those types of things. Because if you're not really, really disciplined and you get caught trying to play the game that St. John's wants to play, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, especially because St. John's has
just havoc.
It's total chaos, and St. John's has better pieces this year. Their backcourt's pretty good with Posh Alexander and Curbelo. And I don't know that Nebraska is A, talented enough and B, disciplined enough to stay out of what St. John's wants them to do and the kind of game St. John's wants to play. So I'll be really interested to see.
Depending on where you get your number, Nebraska basketball tonight on the road is a 9.5 or 10.5 point underdog. All right, welcome in everybody on a Thursday morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Last night, Trev Alberts was on the radio. We will discuss that here in just a moment. But let me give you the lineup with the Rooferys, brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Steve Sipple is going to join us this morning. See how busy Sip is on Wisconsin week. 28 at kickoff on Saturday morning.
Chilly.
28 at kickoff. But by the end of the game, it's going to be 33.
Oh, let's go.
Heat
Short
wave.
sleeve.
Let's go.
I mean,
I might ditch the hat.
I'm trying to look for positives going into the Wisconsin game. Maybe CT11 is a positive that will play. We will discuss that because that was discussed last night. How about the Husker Sports Network getting Trev and Mickey back to back? Because Mickey would usually be on Thursday, but they have the Nebraska basketball game, so they got the AD and the football coach back to back. Ask us anything today. Your chance to win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. That's coming up at 9:30. Send in your questions. Anything goes. Jimmy at 1620thezone.com, and then Brian Edwards stops by. All right, let me get the take the temperature here.
All right.
Because after morning after the athletic director goes on the radio and speaks and lays out where he's at and kind of what his message wanted to be, and it was Trev being Trev last night, giving you a little, not a lot.
Sure.
But keeping you updated. You didn't feel like he was lying to you. He was telling you the truth without giving you all the secrets. Day 67. Are we over it? Are we fatigued? We've now reached day 67.
Oh, I think I've been over it for a couple weeks.
Nebraska does not have a coach. They have not offered anybody the job. Does not mean they have not negotiated or thrown some stuff around, but they do not have a football coach. So kind of what Trev said last night is absolutely true. But as he talked last night, and I listened closely, okay? And kudos to him. When this is all said and done, his ability to keep this tight-lipped in this day and age is unreal.
It is.
It's an amazing job by Trev and anybody else that's involved that they have kept this under lock and key and are almost to the finish line. I mean, you're inside of the 5-yard line right now. And this has been probably run about as well as you can when you're 67 to 70 days into a coaching search. I mean, kudos to everybody involved, but especially Trev, because he said it was going to be this way and did not waver, and that did not change. So tip of the cap to him. I hope that when this is all said and done and he reveals who his choice is, and then he kind of goes, it takes people, and I think he will to a certain extent, take people through the timeline on how he got to this.
Like his process.
Yeah, on the process, which I think will be very fascinating because if a guy like Matt Rule, and there is no doubt Matt Rule is a front runner. I mean, there's way too much smoke. They're just Matt Rule right now is right at the top of the list. Is if they are able to push Matt Rule to the finish line, because I'm going to ask you a question here in just a moment about him.
Okay.
Was he on Nebraska's radar a long time ago with the anticipation that he was going to lose his job in Carolina? Or once he became a free agent, did he get involved, or was he further down? And as the process played out and some said, yeah, I'm good, you got to Matt Rule where he started to check the boxes that you wanted. Because remember, when this all started, he still had a job, even though we thought, man, it isn't going to work in Carolina. He's going to get the Ziggy. Well, he did, but you probably had to maybe have in mind, hey, he might be available. So if it is Matt Rule, and again, Matt Rule's at the top. I mean, there's so much smoke going on right now. Is how did you get to Matt Rule? Or did Matt Rule get to you?
Yeah.
And when did any conversation begin with a guy that was relieved of his duties, back in late September, early October?
Early October, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was at the beginning.
I think there was a few weeks between.
Trying to think, was it after the Niners game?
Yeah, so it says here. So it looks like early October, like October 9th, 10th, somewhere in there. So about almost a month after the Nebraska job came open, I I agree that the amount of smoke around Rule, there has to be some legitimacy to his candidacy as a head coaching as a potential head coach. I know there's some people that think it's done. I I tend to agree with you. I don't think anything's done at this point. I I would guess that he's been on their radar for a while though, because the first times you started hearing Matt Rule as a candidate was before he got fired at Carolina. It was
Mhm.
pretty clear he was on a hot seat coming into this year, and I think a lot of people anticipated he would move back to college following this year, maybe even regardless if he got fired. I mean, there was a vibe that it just wasn't a good fit for him in the NFL. Even if
Mhm.
Carolina didn't move on, maybe he would move on from Carolina after the season. Um, for me, I think he was probably on a list before the season started because if you think that Trev hadn't started his research process at the very least before Scott Frost was fired, I think you're kind of kidding yourself because I'm not sure people realize how close we were to having this happen last year with moving on from Scott Frost. I mean, I
Mhm.
think we were in that neighborhood and it didn't end up happening. They gave him extra time, but that process probably started middle to late last year when it was I mean, Trev said it himself. The odds were certainly against Frost turning it around, even after they brought him back. So I would imagine he had been prepared for at least some version of this eventuality and had a pretty extensive list of names he wanted to talk to. I'd be surprised if by the end of last year, Matt Rule's name wasn't on a list somewhere.
So as you try and figure out, okay, what would he be like at a place like Nebraska if he is the guy? Um, my question goes to the financial part of things. Like, I don't know enough about the contracts to say a guy like Matt Rule, who just recently had a job. Remember,
Mhm.
he might have been the highest paid NFL coach out there. What was it? 7 years, 62 million.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
it was Dave Tepper gave him not the former program director at 1620 The Zone, gave him
billionaire
a
Dave Tepper.
monster
But
Yeah.
my mind goes there
contract.
too.
Yeah.
So you fire him, and he is owed $40 million.
Over the next 4
Okay.
years.
If Matt Rule is a guy that you're interested in employing, and Carolina said they would honor the 40 million,
Mhm.
do you have to negotiate with the Carolina Panthers on how much they are going to pay Matt Rule if he has another job? Do
So
you have to negotiate with the Panthers on this is what the Panthers will continue to pay? Okay, we know that. This is what, if we wanted Matt Rule to be an employee,
mhm,
this is what we would have to pay. Because, of course, that 40 million I don't think it completely goes away, even if he gets another
it
job.
doesn't.
So there's language in his contract
Yeah.
that if you wanted to employ Matt Rule, you might be able to, I wouldn't say get a bargain, but not have to break the bank because somebody else is supplementing him
Yeah.
and then you pay him a salary. But I'm pretty sure that 40 million doesn't go completely away if he takes another job. I don't know enough about his contract, but
Yeah.
I wonder if you were interested in him, do you negotiate with Matt Rule or do you negotiate with the Carolina Panthers?
So a couple things there. I obviously haven't seen his contract specifically. I've read about his contract and in general contracts with it's called offset language. This is how they work. You are guaranteed to get that $40 million one way or another. Okay. If you choose not to work at all, now there's some contracts, there's not very many in pro sports anymore.
Mhm.
This is more in like corporate America. There's some contracts where where you are legally required to look for a job in order like so you can't just say, hey, I'm just sitting out for 4 years.
Mhm.
I don't believe that's the case with Matt Rule's contract or frankly most of these contracts that we talk about. What is true is you have to pay a market rate for a coach. So Nebraska couldn't hire Matt Rule for $1 million a year and have Carolina pay like 9 to come up with that $10 million a year.
So this is not like in baseball where we pick up
Yeah, right.
$100,000 your
Yes.
contract and you pick up
the other 19.9.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. There has to be a reasonable expectation that it's a market rate for the job. So at Nebraska, you probably couldn't pay him less than $4 or $5 million and make that argument, because technically Carolina could sue Matt Rule in that case. So what you're probably looking at is, if you want to pay Matt Rule somewhere between like $4 and $6 million, then Carolina would have to make up the difference to get to that $40 million over the next 4 years. So that's from understanding his contract and other contracts, that is my understanding of how it would work. Now you do get a little bit of a bargain, because if he did not have buyout money coming to him, Matt Rule could probably command $7 or $8 million a year. But as it is, maybe he says, hey, I'll take 5. Let's use the other 2 or 3 for assistant pool.
Yep.
And I'm still getting my money because I get the other 5 from Carolina. That's probably, with everything I've read, that's probably how the situation
That's just my
would work
curiosity.
itself
If you
out.
have to go, because Matt Rule is not up for any other job. Okay. The only job that he's up for is Nebraska.
Which helps Nebraska's case if they only want to pay him like 4 instead of 6.
But again, whatever they're paying is, do you have to go through the Carolina Panthers to hire Matt Rule? That's the question that I have as this all unfolds. Do you have to negotiate first with them and then with the person that you want? Now, here's my other curious wonderment as this whole process. And again, we're inside of the 5-yard line. So we're 67 days in. We're getting close to this being over, thank God. I'm going to bring Jimmy into the conversation. Can you tell me why Lance Leipold, who has a extension on his desk, has yet to sign it?
That's a great point, because that's the thing they keep talking about. What is the deal?
Lance Leipold.
It's been on his desk for a while, hasn't it?
He has not signed anything.
Since around the TCU weekend, or at least those are the rumors.
What's going on in Lawrence? He is not a candidate for the Wisconsin job. I know that for a fact.
Here's another.
So why has he not signed an extension? It is November 17th.
And here's an interesting thing going on down there as they get ready to play Texas at 2:30 on Saturday on a very cold day, which up here, cold day, whatever, it's football. Down there, the excuses are rolling in about why there might be low student turnout. Athletics put out a promotion that students get a free ticket courtesy of Lance and Kelly Leipold. He talked about NIL as a big reason the big thing that's going to keep him there. But the other thing he wants to see is, where's the support? Having a great year, made a bowl game for the first time in 14 years. If they go out there Saturday against a Texas team that they beat last year, great moment, a Texas team that they can beat at home, and you're playing in front of 30, 35,000, that's going to tell him a lot of things. And it starts to tie into, why hasn't he signed it? You don't think much of it, but it's
curious.
You want to go like galaxy brain here?
I'm with you, Gary.
No, I'm not. This is just me asking out loud a question.
But let's connect some dots
Lance
here.
would be a candidate for Nebraska, but you have an extension at a place that really wants you, and they're going to redesign their stadium. But is there something that you're waiting for or holding out? Because I don't think KU would all of a sudden keep adding money. I don't know. If somebody wanted Lance Leipold, would they get into a bidding war at KU?
Would KU get into the bidding war? Yeah, I don't know. But let's connect a few dots here.
If I'm KU, I don't let him leave.
You don't. Otherwise, it shows your commitment to football or lack thereof.
Why hasn't he signed that? Because Kleiman yesterday, no brainer why, if you were in Nebraska, you wouldn't look at Chris Kleiman at K-State and go, well, Chris Kleiman just got an extension. Is it courtesy of Nebraska? If it is, good on. Send Kleiman, send a little cheddar to Trev. Send him a nice Christmas card and put like a gift card in there.
So let's put some things together here with Trev's comments. Right, he's on Sports Nightly last night. He's talking about how one of the biggest selling.
I hated that name.
What? Sports Nightly?
You know that I have that copyrighted.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever got anything for it.
No, I'll say you got to make a little money off of that. You're like the Let It Fly guy. You're letting people use this without getting that money.
I like Sports Day Mid-America, but we had to change the Sports Nightly. But continue on.
So Trev's talking about, hey, the biggest selling point for Nebraska has been the fan base, right? You're talking about maybe the biggest detractor for Lance Leipold is the lack of fan support. What we've talked about with the NIL situation at Nebraska. They got that thing buttoned up as they were starting this search. What's one of the biggest concerns at Kansas? The NIL money. If there is a situation that he's looking at, he's like, he wants an upgrade on the football facilities. What's opening up next year at Nebraska? Brand new football facility. If you're connecting the dots of the things that Lance Leipold is potentially concerned about at Kansas and the things that Nebraska cures all of those issues, there's a lot that lines up there. Not saying he's the guy, but it would make sense as to why that extension has not been signed yet.
It's a valid question, and it's something that, especially message boards and whatnot down there, they say, "Oh no, but it's fine. It's a done deal." Yeah, but why isn't it a done deal yet? And you have to at some point address the uncomfortable question. You know, some people have said, "All right, NIL money. They have something going on in Lawrence for NIL." However, at the end of the day, you always have to ask the question, yes, but are you going to shift a bunch of that over to basketball because that's what you've always done? Or are you going to go all in finally on football like you should have done for the past however many years? And you have a coach that is being very honest. He's not playing the games or throwing out the cliches. These are the things that I want. If you do these things, he'll stay there forever. He's that kind of guy. But if you waver now in light of this season where you had so many good things going, and again, it's perception is reality. If you go out Saturday in front of 30,000 people and it just all of a sudden is like, man, were they 2-10? No, they're making a bowl game. They could win a 7th game or an 8th game next week. You're getting a night game on national TV next week for the K-State game. I mean, if you can't do it now, then when? And so then he maybe starts to think maybe it is all talk. Maybe they're not all in.
And I asked this because I was down there last week and was around their football program, and you just kind of ask people, not him, of course, and they're like, "Yeah, you know what? Hey, the future is bright. We're gonna have Lance here. He's not gonna go anywhere else. We got this great deal. He's gonna have this extension." I'm like,
But
okay,
he hasn't signed the
Great,
extension.
sign
he
it.
hadn't signed anything. I'm just
Put out the
I'm
release.
just curious. I mean, I'm looking out for KU football because you have a guy like that you were hired, and you have a really good athletic director. That'd be a guy that I'd want to definitely keep and not have to start over after a short amount of time.
If they lose Lance Leipold for the football first people, I mean, that's what I always was down there. And in general, that care about the program, it's unforgivable. You'll never live it down.
Here's my question about the extension.
It's like firing a coach who won the Orange Bowl once.
I don't know. Why hasn't he signed it?
Here's my question about the extension. Okay, Leipold currently makes just under $3 million according to USA Today at Kansas. Okay, the reported numbers for the extension are somewhere around double that. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 6.
Yeah. So let's say double it. If you have a contract offer, Gary, talking to you,
Mhm.
you have a contract offer on your desk at a place you want to be that doubles your salary, how fast do you sign that?
It's
That'd
a
be pretty
great
quick.
point.
Pretty
That'd be
damn
pretty quick.
fast, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm
Like if you
wondering-
want
I'm
to be
wondering why.
somewhere
Mhm.
and they're like, hey, we want you here too. Here's double what you're currently getting paid just to stay here at the place you want to be. You sign that thing before it even hits your desk.
You sign it and
It's
say, you want to go to
done.
lunch?
Like that's, I mean, you don't have to go too far to be like, hey, something else is happening here. Whether it's he just doesn't trust the commitment of the NIL, he doesn't, because Jimmy makes a good point. Kansas is always going to be basketball first. The Kansas boosters are always going to be basketball first.
Mhm.
Which has been part of the problem, major part of the problem.
So if it comes down to it, and Bill Self says, I need X amount of dollars, or Lance Leipold says, I need X amount of dollars, who gets those dollars, Jimmy?
If they want gold-plated urinals in Allen Fieldhouse, guess what? They're in tomorrow.
That's what I mean. So if you're
Do
Lance
people
Leipold,
really have those?
I don't know, but
I
if
wouldn't
it-
want to urinate in a. I feel bad.
I would think Kentucky would have
that
them
seems a bit
first,
wasteful.
Yeah, I'm okay with the white porcelain.
Yeah, I'm okay with porcelain.
but not the troughs.
Oh,
No.
I'm a trough guy.
Big trough guy.
I get in and out, man.
Put one in your house.
I'm not
Put
a
the
lot-
trough in your
Dude,
house.
I'm not a long peer.
That's the big controversy with the football
You
stadium.
don't like to
remodeling.
linger?
No, I had a long pee not too recently, about 2.5 minutes. I was like, whoa, I'm getting old.
I was gonna say, do you need to
No,
like?
You went all Jimmy
You know what?
Dugan.
I'm a quick in and outer.
Yeah, I typically am too.
Yeah, you know, like-
listen, in this business, you got to be. You got to
Look-
get in and out for a break.
Hey, when I was younger, I lingered.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, you know what, man, life is catching up to me. I'm in and out.
Time to
So-
go.
Yeah, so in the trough, I'm okay because you're in and out. You're not making conversation. You're not looking down.
Yeah, you just gotta
I'm all about efficiency.
do your business and get out.
Yeah.
Well, have a good pee.
I'm just saying the Lance Leipold thing is interesting. There's either because what can Kansas say, right? Because they're saying all the right things to Lance Leipold.
Absolutely.
What can they say that they're not currently saying that would change his mind? Because it doesn't sound like anything. It sounds like
No.
they're telling him everything he wants to hear. It sounds like he either doesn't trust what they're telling him or someone else is involved with him.
One of the guys that covers him down there and covers him well, he does a great job. He is a football guy. He has been saying repeatedly this week it would be very disappointing to see if they go out to a half-empty stadium or if they have a low turnout. The fact that they also put out a promotion that if you buy a ticket to the football game, you get a ticket to the men's basketball game Friday night against mighty Southern Utah. There's something that's off there.
They have that much space in Allen Fieldhouse.
That's what I
even for
saw
a
too. I was
even
like,
for
wow.
a bad non-con game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Wow. Maybe Bill Self is interested in. No, I'm just kidding.
Something smells
Just
off.
my mind went a couple of different places.
It's a
last night
fair
after
point,
living
Gary.
the
It
trip
really is.
about Matt Rule, which is there's a ton of smoke there, and that's legit. And then I was like, okay, who are some other guys? Because this has really had to do with Kleiman getting his extension and being announced. Is why doesn't the guy that is on the eastern side of the state? Why haven't we had anything done there? What's holding him back? And I did find out yesterday he's not Wisconsin. That's not a connection. Even though Leipold, would go back home, but that's not a connection there.
Especially when we know that there is an extension on the table and has been from some time. He's a guy that kind of fits the profile, and he's not an under the radar guy for Nebraska by any means, but there's still a part of me that thinks, considering who the search firm is, considering how quiet everything has been in terms of information coming out of the search, whether from Trev or nationally or wherever, is that there's a surprise candidate out there still. And Leipold doesn't fit the surprise, but he fits the profile of what a surprise would look like. A guy who's currently successful at a Power 5 job that looks at his job and says, this job is a lot harder than the Nebraska job. Or like we've brought up Mark Stoops before, right? Kentucky, I think, is a really challenging college football job.
A lot of the same similarities.
A lot of the same similarities with basketball first school, but also you're in the SEC. Kentucky, low-key, is not that fertile of a football recruiting ground compared to the rest of the SEC. You have the same issues with Tennessee. People assume you have really good recruiting because you're in the SEC, but their home states compared to your Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Florida, LSUs are not nearly as fertile in terms of high-end prospects. So that Kentucky job is actually really, really challenging. The East is getting better. You've got Tennessee coming up. Obviously, you have Georgia. We don't know what Florida's going to do, but you have to imagine they won't be down forever. That East doesn't look so appealing anymore either. So you look at a Mark Stoops and you're like, is that somebody that could look at the job and say, I think Nebraska offers a lot of the same benefits of what I'm looking for, but is actually a much easier path to be successful consistently than a place like Kentucky. And I'm sure there's other guys out there. Like, that's what I look for in a guy, whether it's Leipold, whether it's Stoops, who neither of those guys are terribly under the radar. That's the profile of a guy that could be a surprise, is currently successful at a Power 5, but at a job that's maybe not as easy as it seems.
I'll put it to you this way, Gary. There is an awesome group of loyal Kansas football fans. They do exist. You were among them when you went down there for the TCU game. They are not going to breathe a true sigh of relief until it finally comes out that he signs the extension. Because until it happens, you can be like, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. But is it?
Find out.
It's a valid question.
We are into
or whenever Nebraska makes their hire and it turns
crazy
out
coaching season.
Oh yeah,
that was good. It was good last night to hear Trev speak, even though people probably wanted more. I think he gave you everything he wanted to give you.
I mean, what else was he gonna say?
Yeah, he wasn't gonna say, "Oh, the search isn't going well. We've been turned down. We actually offered the job to 4 people, and they've said no, and we're on to the 5th candidate."
3 of them laughed us out of the room.
We're searching LinkedIn now.
GBR.
No, but you hear, I mean, I know some people are panicked because it hasn't happened yet. I mean, when we started this thing, sometimes you have to zoom out a little bit, right? Obviously, you want a coach named as soon as possible because we're all just sick of it, right? We're almost at 70 days. This is getting ridiculous. But when we all started this back in mid-September, what was the expectation? The weekend after the Iowa game, right? And that's basically what we're on track for still. And if it happens before that, we were only off by like a week, not by a month or 40 days or whatever. The expectation, listen, I'm with you. I wanted this thing to be wrapped up. I am over it. But we're still very much on track for when the reasonable expectation for an announcement would be. And so I think people get a little panicky because you've had days where it's like, is something happening today? And I've been there. I've been with you. But there really hasn't been any reason for concern to this point. Now, if we get to Monday after Thanksgiving and we haven't heard anything yet, I will allow some concern. I will allow some consternation at that point. Because if this thing isn't wrapped up by that point, like maybe I'm a little worried. But until then, I get that it feels weird because we've had an open coaching position for over 2 months at this point. But this is exactly what it probably was always going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean,
yeah,
it was always a long shot to name a coach before the Iowa game was over.
And maybe get the top 2 names that are on that piece of paper that's in your drawer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a,
and maybe announce the 26th so that on that Saturday of college football, Nebraska in the news cycle.
No, I don't think you would want to. I don't.
I
don't think you, because you know what's going to dominate the news cycle that day?
Ohio State, Michigan.
I think Sunday.
No. I think you wait. If you want to grab the spotlight now, any new hire at Nebraska is going to be national news.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have the opportunity to have a standalone.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Monday after the regular season has come to an end.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the Saturday. I mean, on the pregame shows on the Saturday, people will talk about Nebraska season is over. Now what happens? But I don't. You'd get lost because Ohio State, Michigan will be so large.
Yeah.
Will dominate the conversation that you would be pushed to the back. So if you wanted to seize the day, Monday would be a day, or even Sunday.
I would say Sunday.
But Monday would be a day.
Yeah.
Is you would do something like that. You'd be a couple of days away from the season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. This is I really want Trev to lay out as much as he's willing to say about how this all worked to get to the finish line. And they're, as I said, they're inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, once
So
it's over.
It might be first down and goal, but they're inside of the 5-yard line. And I think now pieces are starting to come together and they'll maybe walk into the end zone.
Once it's over, I would love to have, I don't think he's going to give us like a full oral history, but if he could kind of lay out like, hey, here's where we narrowed down our candidates. Here's where we started contacting people to gauge interest. And, this is when we got down to our final 2 or 3. And this is when we made the offer. I think that would be really helpful to people just to kind of understand that this was or wasn't either a really buttoned up process, and which I assume it is. Just having an idea of how Trev operates, mostly from what you've told me, I assume it's been a very professional, buttoned up process. And I think that would give people some relief that it wasn't this manic, just panicking Steve Peterson looking for anybody with NFL ties coach for 40 days. And then we finally landed on someone. I don't think that's how this has gone, but to hear him lay it out, I think people would appreciate.
All right, lots in that opening segment. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for joining us on a Thursday morning. SIP's coming up in about 2 hours. We got to Ask Us Anything as well, and then Brian Edwards. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe for the final time ahead of Nebraska and Wisconsin. We will talk about Nebraska and Wisconsin today because there was discussion yesterday. CT11 could play. Mark Whipple will be upstairs. Whipple told stories. Maybe the guy should write a book. Should do a podcast someday and tell all the stories. He started talking about when he was playing baseball, when he was talking about his MCL injury.
He did, yeah. Went 1976 on us.
Absolutely beautiful. This is 1620 The Zone. Ravi Lula's in today. There's Jimmy. I'm Gary on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
It's frustrating that Whipple just doesn't care. And I don't mean that he doesn't care about the results. He doesn't seem to care about what Mickey wants to do or his opinion on how they need to compete and play in these football games. And that annoys the hell out of me right now.
but these things do happen. I mean, you get a coach who, is set in their ways and another coach who's set in their ways. And
honestly, John, it comes across like Whipple doesn't respect him.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A chance for a quick hit of light snow or flurries Thursday morning, mainly before 9 a.m. Otherwise, expect a windy and cold day ahead with mostly cloudy skies. Highs will top out around 30 around lunchtime, then slide into the 20s later in the afternoon. Wind chills in the teens. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From LeBurton, AC Heating, Plumbing, and More, time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a slowdown from 183rd to 165th along Center. Then on L, be prepared for just a little bit of a delay near 120th. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Methodist Health System, the meaning of care.
When envisioning what kind of future is possible, the challenges never stop. And neither do we. Methodist, the meaning of care.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Severe from Severe Reaction to tell you about Rotella's Italian Bakery. There are a couple of constant things that happen at my house. One is, of course, the kids running around and driving me crazy, but more than anything else, us having Rotella's Bakery in the bread box. It's there, and you especially need it now because of the holidays. There's so much that Rotella's is crazy for. Think about it. Tailgate parties, everything you need for any kind of sandwich, and it's 100 years of tradition on top of that. And one of the great things about me working in Papillion now is that occasionally I can drive by 108th and Harrison, and you know what I smell? Rotella's Italian Bakery bread in the nostrils. It is amazing over that area. So make sure you swing by and stop at the bakery at 108th and Harrison and get your bread right there. We're talking hot dog buns, hamburger buns, we're talking wheat, all different types of breads galore for your tailgating parties and for the holiday. Stop right now. Get you some bread. It's Rotella's Italian Bakery bread. For over 100 years, it's a tradition in my house.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Join the show immediately after the game and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction on 101.9 The Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
Cool air temperatures mixed with warm soil temperatures means it's time to plant. Visit Lanaha's Garden Center for the Metro's largest selection of homegrown trees and plants. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Your Big East champion, Creighton men's soccer team, hosts Missouri State in the first round of the NCAA tournament today. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock at Morrison Stadium. Tickets available at gocreighton.com/soccer tickets. Creighton versus Missouri State. Men's soccer today at 4.
Husker coverage on 1620 The Zone is presented by Tickets for Less. Tickets for Less is your local source for Nebraska football tickets. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com. All the Nebraska football news, stories, experts, and coverage you need is on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone.
Again,
I had to test to
1620
see
The
if it was
Zone.
working.
Yeah.
It is not.
I forgot to tell the rest of the guys after me that sit in this chair that the button is a little choppy.
A little finicky?
Yeah, it wasn't working for John
finicky.
either.
Finicky is a good word. Yeah, see, I think I'd handle better. Did John get upset?
I don't know.
No, he
against the wall.
he seemed to roll with it.
He does have a rage problem. It's well known.
Nick did love the power he had, though, over.
Yeah.
That does seem like something Nick would enjoy.
You think I was watching? Which sport has the biggest homers as the radio play-by-play announcer? Football, basketball, baseball, or hockey?
Ooh, I think it's football.
I think I'm with you, and I think it's in the NFL. So yesterday,
Yeah.
Oh,
Paul
absolutely.
Allen, who I love PA.
This was a great video.
So he is the longtime radio voice of the Minnesota Vikings. He also hosts a talk show up on KFan in the Twin Cities from 9 to noon.
Well, that's not bad. That's not a bad schedule.
9 to and then noon. Oh yeah, PA is a national treasure. So he is about as homer as you can get.
Oh
He
yeah.
loves him some Vikings.
He does the we's, the us's, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
I don't do. You know what? I don't think I've done the us and the we.
Yeah.
Maybe once in a while, but very rarely. And of course, not last night. I'm still disappointed. That was a bad showing at Baxter last night for the Mavs.
So if Omaha like made a NCAA tournament, you wouldn't go, we're going dancing?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
But Paul Allen, and this has become a thing with broadcasters, and I think about this with Bishop, who loses his mind, is you have a camera on you while you're broadcasting. And in one of the best games we've seen in the NFL in a long time, the Bills and the Vikings, they have a camera on Paul Allen.
Yes.
And Paul Allen is such a homer. The guy that does the Lions is a major homer as well. And maybe ironically, they released a video of him being filmed doing the Bears-Lions game the other day. So Paul Allen has all these different moments in that game. And as to be expected, as crazy that game was. So they've got the camera on him, and it went viral yesterday. And I'm like, if you're a Viking fan, you love him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he's like a fan that has the profession of being the play-by-play
Yeah.
guy.
He's a fan with $1 million voice.
Like, that's why a lot of people like Kent. KP doing the Huskers.
Yeah.
Husker basketball. KP is a talented broadcaster who is a Nebraska basketball fan. So he calls the game like a fan. And I think I kind of do as well. I probably didn't have as much juice last night when things aren't, Omaha's not shooting very well.
Sure.
But I think people enjoy their hometown announcer and they say, go ahead and be a homer.
Oh, yeah.
Be fair.
That's part
but
of the
it's
job,
okay to be a
though,
homer.
right?
So he is a major homer.
Yeah.
But I think it is football where in the broadcasting business, college and pro, we have the biggest homers, and it's okay.
Some of the college ones, especially SEC
I was
college
just gonna
guys,
say, SEC.
are so over the top. It's kind of hilarious. But I'm sure that their home fans love it, right? But the thing about that Paul Allen video that really struck me was the way this is I don't know if anybody else even cared about this. The way him and his color commentator were oriented in the box, like they were both standing, and the color commentator was on the other side of the box,
And then
like
they have a stat and a spotter in between.
yeah, and like behind him, it was a very I couldn't even find the color guy at first. I didn't think he had one because I could see that the guy next to him wasn't talking, and then you hear another voice. I was like, "Where is that guy? Where is that guy?"
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was just out of the screen, and then I noticed this guy in the back just kind of hovering. Is that normal for an NFL box?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, it's normal actually for a lot of football boxes because
They're just like standing and like wandering around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so basketball you sit, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Hockey, I stood.
I stood for
football. football, and I haven't done football and radio in a while, but for TV we stand.
Okay.
I think it's a football thing.
Okay.
Because
I normally see basketball, right?
Yeah, because it's easier. Like you're standing. Usually, sometimes you're calling the game through the glasses,
Mhm.
depending how far you're away. But in the NFL, there's a lot of radio booths that are actually like in the stands. Like he told a story the week before. They're playing at Washington, and he got into it with a fan. Like there was a fan that was right close enough to the booth that they were turning around and they were he was throwing stuff at him, and he asked for the security to come.
Yeah.
And apparently then there was a SWAT team that came into the Viking radio booth, and then they escorted the guy out. But a lot of the booths in the NFL, radio booths, are like right down where the fans are.
Yeah.
So like the fans are right in front of you, or there's aisles that walk next to the booth.
Yeah.
The
And-
NBA's become like that too.
Yeah. But he is fantastic. And when I saw that, I'm like, man, I'm not a Viking fan. But go on you and be as big a homer as you can. Because some people say that about Greg Sharp. So you can tell when you listen to Greg Sharp doing the Husker football games, he is the Nebraska announcer.
Yeah.
People would like him to be more of a homer.
Yes, I've heard
Like
that.
you listen to Bishop or Me with the Mavs, you know which team we're
100%
employed by.
100%.
People want Greg Sharp to be more of a homer.
He is a little more neutral than a lot of the college football announcers are. He's certainly not quite as over the top as some of the ones you see in the SEC, for example. What's super funny to me is, our old friend Nick Baugh, to hear him on the 1620 Creighton broadcast versus hearing him on like an FS1 broadcast, the difference between his like tone and attitude is like the perfect example of, okay, neutral television broadcast versus home team radio broadcast. His personalities are 180 degrees different. It's incredible.
And I don't think on TV he's ever slipped and said we.
No, I don't think so.
He will say we on the radio.
Oh.
Why not? I mean, he's a former Jet.
I would say he's an actual we,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
that's he
get
has
away
earned
with
it. Yeah, he has earned the we and the us. And the Paul Allen one though, where he goes, "Give us the safety, give us the safety." I love that.
My
that was
favorite
incredible.
is 2003 when they were eliminated from the playoffs and Arizona caught that touchdown on the last play, and he just yells no, and it's just a massive meltdown. But it was what the fan was thinking. And so when I did the network update deal once upon a time, the two guys we always tried to get a clip from on Sunday, if there was something, Paul Allen, Gene Deckerhoff, and that's exactly why they're the best.
So that's what we need with Bishop.
You weren't a big Mitch Holtis guy with the Chiefs?
I wasn't going to bring him up.
You
but-
couldn't go wrong with Mitch, but when it came to the homers, if you wanted that good clip, those were your two.
Yeah, I think NFL announcers are the biggest homers in all of broadcasting.
I might go SEC over NFL, but NFL is in the neighborhood. Those guys get after it.
So what we need is like a big East game this year for Bishop to have a camera on him. Like, when he had to do games remote and he was in the basement here?
Yeah.
And there was
some clips.
They had one game where they came back late. I can't remember. It might have been Seton Hall or something like that. It was on the road.
Yeah, but him and Baugh, it was like Christian Bishop was shooting free throws.
Yeah.
And they were losing their minds.
Yeah, so that would have been a good time to have a camera on him. But that's the new trend is you have a camera on the play-by-play announcer to see his reaction. But if you've not seen that video, you can find it on social media. It's fantastic. Paul Allen is a treasure. By the way, his girlfriend is a flight attendant for Delta.
Oh, there you go.
And she also is she's a flight attendant on the Twins charter flights. That's how I know her.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a nice little connection there.
Yeah, and she was a flight attendant on a trip down to Florida recently.
All right.
And so I was like, how's Paul doing?
Yeah.
She was like, oh. I'm like, okay.
Good old Paul.
What a good combo. A radio announcer and a flight attendant.
They
both have crazy schedules.
I was going to say, I bet they rack up a ton of frequent flyer miles. They can fly anywhere they want for free, I bet.
Yeah.
That's nice. Good for Paul.
That's an ideal occupation if you're in the radio business as a flight attendant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got crazy schedules, never home.
That's true.
You understand that you have crazy schedules?
That's true. It is difficult when one of you has a crazy schedule and the other one has a normal 9 to 5.
Like a teacher or something like that.
Yeah, it's a weird. That can be a difficult dynamic.
Yes, it can. Dan, stay right there. We'll get to you quickly here. Steve Sipple joins us at 8:30 this morning. Ask Us Anything coming up at 9:30 from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. Your chance to win a gift card to the great Oscar's Pizza and Grill. Don't forget we have Thursday night football tonight. We have the Packers and the Titans. Robbie and I will talk about that a little bit later as we roll till 10 on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620, The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Kugler Vision. If you have money sitting in your flex plan or in your health savings account, it is time for an early holiday gift for yourself. I am talking about LASIK with my friends at Kugler Vision. Visit their website today, kuglervision.com. Let them know that you are sick of bad vision and you are ready to see if you qualify to have one of their 7 vision correction procedures. 402-558-2211 or online at kuglervision.com.
Last year, I enrolled my family for health care coverage through the health insurance marketplace. Do I need to enroll again?
Yes, we have seen the plans available through the marketplace change, and new options may be available. You must re-enroll for 2023 to ensure you or your family are in the right plan for your budget and needs. One World Community Health Centers in Omaha can help. Just call 402-502-8888 to set up an appointment with a team member.
I don't have health coverage, and I'm worried that if I get sick, I can't afford the medical bills. How do I get started?
Getting started is easy and free. Just call to set up an appointment with a Navigator enrollment specialist. We will explain your coverage options, answer any questions, help you enroll, and see if you qualify for financial assistance. Open enrollment is November 1st through January 15th. Re-enroll in healthcare coverage or enroll for the first time. Call One World Community Health Centers at 402-502-8888 to set up an appointment.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Your vehicle is important. It gets you where you need to go, but it does much more than that. I'm Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center, and at Dingman's, we know your vehicle is an investment and that safety is your priority. To make sure your vehicle is as safe as it was prior to an accident, bring it to Dingman's for proper, safe, and certified repairs. We protect you and your investment. We've been voted Best of Omaha for the past 17 years. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Find us at dingmans.com.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
Lula Bee's Breakfast, Brunch, and Bar is downtown Omaha's go-to spot for quality food with a Mexican flair. Lula Bee's has everything from French toast and omelets to shrimp tacos and burgers. There's even a full bar with uniquely inspired cocktails. Want to have a party? Lula Bee's has a fun and festively decorated party room that seats up to 65 of your favorite humans with custom catering available. Book for holiday parties, family events and celebrations, or just brunch with all your friends. Lula Bee's, 9th and Dodge, or at lulabeesomaha.com.
Your Big East champion Creighton men's soccer team hosts Missouri State in the first round of the NCAA tournament today. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock at Morrison Stadium. Tickets available at gocreighton.com/soccer tickets. Creighton versus Missouri State. Men's soccer today at 4.
1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in. Ravi, Jimmy, Gary, and Dan. Good morning, Dan. Thanks for holding. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. In the before Mahomes times of the early 2010s, Mitch Holthus, I remember when the Chiefs were scuffling during that time and they were not good. I remember a a particularly bad offensive drive, a 3-and-out, where they after they punted, or it was a fumble. I don't remember exactly. It was so long ago, and it doesn't matter in the long run. I remember they went to commercial. Well, they tried to go to commercial. They actually never did. They stayed on air. Luckily for Mitch, he didn't swear, but for about 30 seconds before they actually did go to commercial, he was complaining up a storm about just how bad decisions the team was making it. It made me feel very good on the inside because it was exactly what everybody else was thinking.
Yeah. Dan, thanks for the phone call. Mitch is, that was before Mitch was employed by the Chiefs. So Mitch is now a full-time employee of the Chiefs.
Okay.
You see him at training camp. He looks like a coach out there. So maybe he has changed a little bit, but he still is all in on the Chiefs. The Niners announcer is another guy that is all pro
Greg Papa,
Niners.
yes.
Josh on the stream says, and we were talking about Greg Sharp, I feel like Greg was very homerish during Nebraska's baseball run in 2021. Due to my son's own baseball schedule, we listen to a lot of games via the radio. Greg gets fairly fired up about baseball or gets fired up about decisions in West Lafayette, whether to play the game or not.
Yes.
One of the better bits of radio that we've had here in 2022 was Greg and Ben discussing Purdue not playing.
Yeah. That
So what we're saying here, Greg, not related, is just this weekend against Wisconsin,
lean in a little bit.
Lean into it.
I will say
Damon's a homer.
It seems like the only times where he tends to get upset with the referees sometimes. That's where he'll kind of show a little bit of homerism. Just channel that energy the whole game.
Not everybody, even if that's your home radio, likes that though.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's kind of what you're signing up for with home radio though. Right? Like if you're listening to a home radio broadcast, that's kind of what you expect. I think that's the general accepted position of the home radio broadcaster.
I did last night. We had an over and back call. So basically, Ball State was coming up the floor. The guy on the right side of the floor had crossed into the front court and threw it across, and the Ball State player had just come into the front court. And they called over and back. And I was like, I don't think that's over and back because he had established himself.
Yeah, I'll say if he gets his feet down first, yeah.
So it was a break for Omaha. Omaha got the ball. After the game, I asked Coach Lewis about it. He goes, the ref came up to him right afterwards because I was like, Kyler and I on the radio were like, I don't think that's the right call.
Yeah.
But, benefit to Omaha.
Sure.
Ref came up to him like the next time down the floor and he goes, hey, Coach, I'm sorry. I don't think I got that right.
I like refs that do that because some of them will. And I always appreciated that where they were like, hey, yeah, I really couldn't see that one. I might have missed it. Some of them will even say, like, I'll get you back next time. Like, the next close one's going your way. Like, they'll give you a little bit there. So I always appreciated that when they acknowledged, like, hey, I might have missed it.
So there's another part of this, and then we gotta go to break here. Is I like, on Friday nights, I'll leave my game and get in the car and hit scan. And when it's a clear night out, we can pick up a lot of radio broadcasts of high school games here in Omaha.
Oh yeah.
And I love the high school football announcer that does every game for that town's team and might do 3 different teams.
Yeah.
Is all homer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, major
like Varsity
homer.
Blues.
Yeah. And your partner might be, somebody that, they work part-time at the radio station, but they're the local banker.
Yeah.
And you have 2 guys that are just going at it and they're major homer.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea who they're playing.
No,
it's like Jimmy's pass to Bob, and Bob takes it down to the 5-yard line. I'm like, this is fantastic.
I was gonna say,
I ate lunch with his grandpa yesterday.
Not only do you not know who they're playing, you most of the time don't know the game situation because they don't really. A lot of times they won't give you that.
What's the score?
Yeah, you might go a half hour of real time without getting the score announced to you, but they are 100% on board for their squad.
See, that's why it's another part of that. But there are a lot of really good announcers that are in the state that do a lot of high school sports. Is the young kids that get a chance in high school to do Striv. They are very much homer wherever they're at. Some of them are like, this is what they want to do for a living, so they try and be professional.
Yeah.
Those kids, no way. You go to school with those kids that you're calling. Just go ahead and be a homer.
Oh, yeah.
Go all in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, over the top.
Without a doubt.
And then people that are from the other side that are listening to the game or watching, then they get all pissed.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Oh, come on, man.
Is
They're high
we-
school kids. Let them go crazy.
Ruffling up the feathers of the crosstown rival. It's perfect.
Run, Jalen, run! Run!
I wish they
And all of
would
a
have.
sin, you morph into Paul Allen.
Give us the safety.
We'll play that when we come back. Part of the
What are they waiting for?
I'm doing the Vikings-Bills game the other day. This is 1620 The Zone in the morning.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown northbound along the JFK near 25th and Q Streets. Then on L, be prepared for a little bit of a delay from 72nd all the way to 60th. And then on Industrial Road, it looks like things have slowed down just a little bit from 149th to 138th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Through January 4th, 2023, enter non-winning Nebraska Lottery Holiday Wishes scratch tickets for a chance to win $1, $5, or $10,000. It's the Holiday Wishes Second Chance promotion, so enter today. Top prize odds vary by game.
Hey, Olivia, what do you think when you think of Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe?
I think, can we go now?
Jones Bros is famous for award-winning cupcakes. Our cafe is delicious for breakfast and lunch, too.
Try French macarons.
And our light bulb boba drinks.
And our ice cream.
And our coffee and lattes.
And our croissant donuts.
We cater, too. Come see us at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village.
Come on, let's go.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists. When is the best time to buy a house? The answer is now. It's always now. With interest rates creeping up, the real estate market has slowed down, except for the people that were planning on upgrading their home because of life changes. But the one thing we want to let people know is, even if you buy a house now at the higher rate, we anticipate rates to fall. That means you can buy your house now and refinance down the road. Lots of folks think waiting this out is a good strategy. The trouble is values keep rising, so waiting doesn't really help. Plus, if rates come back down, the market will just get busy again, meaning you'll be competing against more buyers with multiple offers, and you might not get the house that you want. We're seeing the market starting to get back to normal, which is a good thing for buyers and sellers.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Now is the time for a furnace inspection, and McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning is here to help. An annual furnace inspection and tune-up from McCarthy's is essential to keep dangerous carbon monoxide from leaking into your home. Join McCarthy's Comfort Club and get a twice-annual inspection of your furnace and AC, discounts on repairs, and priority service, all for a low monthly price that will never go up. Visit McCarthy's1hour.com and schedule your furnace tune-up. Stay warm and safe with McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. Always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Want to do something nice for a veteran? Stop by any 42 Degree location and receive an extra discount with your donation of can or box food and hygiene products for the Veterans Food Pantry of Omaha. 42 Degrees by your mom's house.
Creighton coverage on the zone is presented by Barry Law. At Barry Law, we fight alongside those who choose to fight back. Call Barry Law at 402-999-7777 or visit BarryLawFirm.com. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
Your Big East champion Creighton men's soccer team hosts Missouri State in the first round of the NCAA tournament today. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock at Morrison Stadium. Tickets available at GoCreighton.com/soccer tickets. Creighton versus Missouri State. Men's soccer today at 4.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
And he caught it at the Bills 40. What a grab! 1st and 10 Vikings from the 17. Here's Cousins with a pass over the middle. Caught by Jefferson at the 3, and he paid for it. 4th and goal from inside the 1, trailing by 4 with 50 seconds to go. Cousins under center. Kirk sneaks, pushed by C.J. Ham, and no signal. No signal. Oh, he didn't make it. They said he didn't make it. They said he didn't make it. You lucky suckers. The ball is, right next to the goal stripe. So Josh Allen needs to get this thing out somehow. Or take a safety.
Even if they get a safety, there's very little time left on the clock. But
that would make it a field goal. You lose game. Yeah. With 40. No, Josh Allen, 6'5", 240. Watch this. First down from the goal stripe for the Bills. Josh Allen puts Gabe Davis in motion, and Davis is behind Allen, and he tried to push him. He didn't get out of there. He didn't get out. He did not get out. That's a safety. Give it to us. Give us a safety.
Look at what's taking so long.
Oh, the ball came out. Down. Yes, the Vikings. Kidding me? The Vikings are going to win.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, drop that ball, Josh Allen.
That ball came loose.
Holy cow.
The best part is, besides the give it to us and whatever, is so he goes, the Vikings are going to win. And then the next part of the clip is him dejectedly talking about the field goal to tie the game, to send it to overtime. Because you could just see it on his face where he's like, I didn't think they could do this.
That's Paul Allen, the radio voice of the Minnesota Vikings. Welcome back.
He's the voice of the fan.
I have a question about, is gold stripe a thing?
I've never heard it described like that.
I've never. It's always goal line. I've never heard goal stripe. I didn't know if that was like a Minnesota thing or something.
No, it is not like.
It's just a Paul Allen thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
People will probably start using it.
I thought it might be regional. So there's certain.
No, I think it's a Paul Allen thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I've never heard that until I heard that clip yesterday. Stephen M. Sipple coming up in about an hour. Last night, Trev Alberts was on the radio, followed by Mickey Joseph.
It was a big night for Sports Nightly.
People were expecting an announcement.
Yeah, that's silly.
Like, what if they would have walked in together?
Holding hands?
That would have been awkward. But there are a couple of things that Trev said, and we talked in the first hour. I think Nebraska's inside of the 5-yard line. Don't have a coach yet, but we're getting towards the end as it is lining up as we reach day 67. But Trev said a couple of interesting things about the job and how the process a little bit, what people have said. It's you're not going to say that it's not going well. I think it's probably you when you have a search like this, you have anticipated moments where it is going to happen and then it doesn't. But I don't sense any panic. I think Nebraska's got a plan, and they've done an incredible job of keeping this tight-lipped. And I'm glad that he kind of alluded to, and he said not naive to think that everybody wants to come to Nebraska. I continue to say this. Nebraska is not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It is a different beast. The challenge is huge. People know that haven't had a lot of success around here, even with the comment he made about the fan base. It's a lift.
It's a really big job.
Yeah.
It's a really big job.
So people can appreciate the Nebraska job, but not want it.
Sure.
Okay. And I'm sure there's a lot of those people, and the people that want it, they have made it well known.
Or people that are in spots that are not bad already, right?
The question you ask in the mirror is, can you win at Nebraska? Scott Frost asked that of people before he ever got to Lincoln. Can you win at Nebraska?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some people, when he asked that to them, were like, why are you asking me that? That's just very curious. But
Yeah.
I don't think Scott was 100% in taking the job. I mean, he had to kind of be talked into it. So it is not for everyone. And the person that ends up, you sell the job to, and then they go, you know what? That is the place for me. So we're getting closer, but not to the finish line yet as we reach day 67.
Well, there's a something that I've heard a lot when you brought something up about the job isn't for everybody, and not everybody necessarily thinks they can win here. And I get the response to that a lot where people say, well, every coach has a huge ego, which a lot of them do. I'm not denying that.
They think they can fix everything.
They think they can fix everything. But here's the other side of that coin, right? That doesn't mean, I think it can fix anything, so I'm going to go to Nebraska. Like, let's say you're Chris Kleinman, right? And you say, you're not asking yourself, can I win at Nebraska? But you're saying to yourself, if you have a huge ego, why can't I win at Kansas State the same way I could win anywhere else?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the other side of the huge ego coin. It's like, I don't care if it's Nebraska or Liberty or Kansas State. It's Chris Kleinman. I can win however big I want to win. Right? So that's the other side of the coin. It's not all about, I'm good enough to make that job work. It's I'm good enough to make my job work. Yeah. And I don't think people think about that side of the ego very often.
That's a great point. So now you shift from, there's that going on, and Nebraska still has 2 games left, and they play Wisconsin. You're very curious and waiting a couple of more days. We'll get an update from Mickey today about Casey Thompson, and we're on Casey Thompson watch. But it sounds more promising, like he's going to give it a go.
It sounded way more encouraging yesterday.
How long? I mean, you have to keep in mind that Wisconsin has picked off 15 balls this year.
And they get after the quarterback.
So there's those in play. I mean, this could be a pick fest from Mertz and Thompson. I mean, it could be that way.
Yeah.
But you know how, like the last 2 games of the year for Nebraska, 2 teams that Nebraska's playing that are very good in the month of November. I mean, Iowa's got a long winning streak right now in November. And Wisconsin has the amazing mark in the month of November where they're 39-9 since 2010. So this time of the year, remember November.
They do a lot of winning.
November is to be remembered, however is said by Shakespeare, whoever, an orator out there, coined that phrase. You play your best football in November, and the Big Ten says we're going to play divisional games. Okay, you're going to be able to decide it in the month of November. So Iowa and Wisconsin play really well in the month of November, and Wisconsin is one of the best teams in the country since 2010 in the month of November. Iowa, how you look at Iowa from this standpoint, this side of the river, when we look at like our folks over on the western coast of Iowa, you're angered. Okay, it is that's a rivalry. Don't like them, they don't like us. The reaction to Wisconsin, a team that has absolutely drubbed Nebraska, they've won 9 of 10. And you could say, I hate Wisconsin. Or you're resigned to the fact that Wisconsin is Wisconsin and Nebraska is Nebraska right now. You're probably somewhere in between. But you know a thing that I think would agitate you about Wisconsin? And up until this point, and then they throw in the COVID year, Wisconsin hasn't looked like Wisconsin.
No.
Okay. So this is weird to see this Wisconsin team kind of limping into Memorial Stadium at 5-5. Is why you should be in between hate and resigned about Wisconsin is because they do something that Nebraska has tried to do for so long over at least 3 coaches. Things you preach. You can preach all you want, right?
Yeah.
So you go to church on Sunday and you got the preacher up there and he's preaching and he's got his sermon. And then by 12:30, he's not living that sermon that he just gave.
Sure.
Okay. He's talking about, and I'll just use this as a hypothetical, not that my priest does this, is, hey, stay away from the devil and that gambling.
Yeah.
But then the priest is over at
Council Bluffs,
one of the sports books laying down a 3-team parlay.
Well, yeah, you got to get that NFL bet money in.
Okay. So the one thing Wisconsin does, and kudos to them, and this is where it's frustrating for Nebraska. Nebraska can preach all they want. Hey, we want to do this. We want to be physical. We want to, we want to make people adjust to us. All of that stuff. The thing you have to admire about Wisconsin is they'll preach it and then they'll play it. Because what do they tell you? Wisconsin says, we're going to run the ball, we're going to stop the run, we're going to be physical, and we're going to win in November. So they preach it, and then what do? They play that way.
Yeah.
So that's the frustrating thing about Wisconsin is we can say, yeah, Nebraska would love to be Wisconsin. Man, Jesus, we like to have what Alvarez had. We like to have all of that. Well, Nebraska does a good job of preaching. They just don't play that way.
Right.
Wisconsin does the job of preaching and playing that way, and that's the frustrating part.
Well,
because you want to be there and you haven't been able to get there. You talk a good game. Wisconsin really doesn't do a lot of talking.
No, not a ton.
But they preach and then they play that way.
Well, and the most frustrating part about it for Nebraska is Nebraska used to do that better than anyone, right? That was Nebraska. And B, Wisconsin stole that blueprint directly from Nebraska. So that's the most frustrating part about Wisconsin being that way now and Nebraska not, is that it's a complete role reversal of how many Nebraska fans grew up watching Nebraska or seeing Wisconsin. And it was a straight, they just straight up, I don't want to say steal because it's not like they actually, they didn't do anything nefarious.
You can say
emulate.
Copycat.
Yeah.
It was a total copycat job.
There were a lot of programs that used Nebraska as the example, and
which they absolutely should have.
Nebraska
was the standard.
They've done Nebraska better than Nebraska's done Nebraska.
And now Nebraska needs to go back and try and do Wisconsin or Iowa or pick whatever program. If you want to shoot a little higher, the Michigan example of how they are now, Nebraska needs to go and copycat that to replicate what they used to be the standard for.
You preach and you play. It's just like, the great stories of Wiegert telling the Colorado lineman where the play is going to go.
It didn't matter.
You preach it. Yeah, it didn't matter.
And it didn't matter.
Because I'm going to preach it, and then I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to, put you on the ground and then pick you up, and the enjoyment of knocking a guy down and picking him up, knocking him down again. But the Wisconsin does that. Wisconsin, for the longest time, they preached and they played. You know how weird the last 2 years have been in this series? So remember last year, and I think about this because I went back and looked because it was clearly a pass interference in the end zone. How many people were amazed that Nebraska kept that a game last year? You thought Nebraska in Madison last year, after they had made the firings on the offensive side, Nebraska's a debacle. Okay, they're going to go. They're going to go there, and they're going to get run out of Madison once again. The game came down to the final play. The pass in the end zone for Betts, where there was pass interference. So you had the guy that threw the pass and the guy that almost caught the pass are no longer in the program. The guy that was on the sidelines that was doing everything, remember, he was calling plays, he was doing all that stuff. He's no longer here. Now you fast forward to this year. You got two interim head coaches. Wisconsin comes in 5-5. They still are not bowl eligible, and Nebraska is just kind of there. What a weird last 2 years in this series that has not been good. It has been so one-sided.
Yeah.
And again, you hate Wisconsin or you resign or you're frustrated because Wisconsin has been Wisconsin and they have done Nebraska better than Nebraska has done.
Yeah, I think
bring back Stave on a September Saturday night back in 2012.
Oh, how we missed Joel Stave.
He was the gift that kept on giving. But you thought that with Mertz too.
Yeah. No, you should be able to take advantage of Mertz the way you did Joel Stave, right? And Mertz is maybe even more mistake-prone than Stave. Stave wasn't very good. You probably weren't going to get hurt by Stave that much. But Graham Mertz will give you the ball. He will hand you some opportunities. And Nebraska just hasn't been good enough to take advantage of them, frankly. That's the frustrating part. And honestly, the biggest difference between being able to beat a Joel Stave and not being able to beat a Graham Mertz is Nebraska's just not as good as they used to be. And that's not a revolutionary take or anything, but it's not like Wisconsin has gone up levels and separated themselves. Wisconsin's kind of stagnated and even declined a little bit as well.
And that adds to the frustration over the last couple of years. It's not like somebody in the West has run away with the division.
No one's turned into an Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah, and they have not separated.
No. If anything, they've come back to the pack. I would say Wisconsin and Iowa are much closer to Minnesota and Purdue than they were 3 years ago. But Nebraska's fallen so much further back in that time. That's part of the frustration is this was a division that was there for the taking the last few years.
Yep.
And Nebraska just couldn't do it. It wasn't there. And I think as we get further away from the Scott Frost era, that will be one of the biggest frustrations with the era among many things, right? But the fact that the failures of the Scott Frost era lined up with an opportunity in the Big Ten West that was just ripe for the picking, because there was no one. There was, as solid and consistent as Iowa and Wisconsin have been, there was no clear-cut best team in the West that you were unable to overcome. There was no lead dog that you had to chase down. And Nebraska should have been able, if they had any sort of competency, should have been able to chase them down. And they couldn't, and they fell further back. That's the worst part, is they didn't even keep up. They fell further back.
That's Robbie. Jimmy is here as well. I'm Gary. Steve Sipple in an hour. Ask us anything, and Brian Edwards going to make you some money on this Thursday. We got basketball right here on the Zone tonight. We've got Creighton and UC Riverside. Last game before Creighton heads off to Maui. Nebraska basketball in action against St. John's. Sam Griesel will get his first major test at the high major level, running the point against Havoc.
I would say it'll be a major test.
St. John's is going to try and speed Nebraska up. If they're successful.
You think Posh Alexander goes on Griesel?
I would think that would be the start. That would be the smart play.
That's going to be, he'll find out quick.
This, again, I said this earlier. It's the first time that Nebraska basketball, and there's really nothing else going on tonight, is on national TV. So people will watch. This is probably the first time that you've watched if you're not a diehard. You haven't been at the Maine and Omaha game. So collectively, here we go. Husker Twitter will be kind of fun tonight.
Yeah, and listen, they were kind enough to stagger the start times for us so you can catch Nebraska and Creighton.
Creighton's at an odd time, right? 7:30?
7:30, yeah.
Jeez.
So you only get an hour of
So
me
Creighton has
tonight.
played at 7
and 2 8s, I think,
and now
7:30. Yeah.
God bless FS1.
That's
5:30. I'll watch. I can find it on TV too.
Not the term I would have used, but
yeah,
probably not the route I would have gone.
4 games, 3 different start times.
Gotta love
We
it.
don't do that in radio.
No, well, and you're gonna have more because they head out to Maui, so you're gonna be all over the
Yeah,
map.
no, I can accept that. I know that's going to be quirky.
You can make an exception there, but FS1, you got no excuse.
Why is this game on TV tonight?
Because it's Creighton. They're always on TV.
I know they are, but
that's what happens when you're a top 10 program.
This will be closer than, of course, the game against Holy Cross and even against North Dakota.
Yeah, the line is under 20. It's like 17.5 last I saw. I don't know if that means it'll be closer, but I think UC Riverside's better.
Yeah,
those two teams.
I think of the previous two teams, they're the better. St. Thomas, I think, is going to turn out to be okay.
St. Thomas is better than they were probably projected. I still think UC Riverside's probably the best team Creighton has played so far.
All right, 7:35. We're off and running on a Thursday. Glad to have you in on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
When I hear sheriff, I think of the Old West. Matt says sheriff should be forced to dress up like they're in the Old West. Yes, if they want to keep the name, they have to wear Old West garb. I want them to wear spurs and all those things. I want Sheriff Woody or nothing. Yeah, there you go. Someone poisoned the water hole. There's a snake in my boot.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A chance for a quick hit of light snow or flurries Thursday morning, mainly before 9 a.m. Otherwise, expect a windy and cold day ahead with mostly cloudy skies. Highs will top out around 30 around lunchtime, then slide into the 20s later in the afternoon. Wind chills in the teens. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have one accident that has the center lane blocked near 120th and Dodge, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for some significant slowdown between 84th and 72nd. And on Center, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 175th to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Methodist Health System, the meaning of care.
When envisioning what kind of future is possible, the challenges never stop. And neither do we. Methodist, the meaning of care.
Last year's 42 Degrees Veterans Day promotion was a huge success. Besides the thousands of dollars of food and toiletries donated, 42 Degrees wrote a check for $2,000 to the Veterans Food Pantry. So help a veteran and help yourself to an extra discount. 5% for 2 items, 10% for 4 items, or 15% for 6 items. So let's show support to our veterans in 2022 and make this Veterans Day even better. 42 Degrees, your source for CBDs, Kratom, and Delta products. By your mom's house.
Hi, this is Kathy Kenoyer. 'Tis the season at Glasshouse Market within Kenoyer Garden Center. We'd like to be a part of your family's holiday tradition. Whether you're looking for a gift for that special someone or a wreath for your front door, we'd like to invite you to shop our stunning holiday market, full of Christmas decor, novelty items, and fresh greens. Shop Glasshouse Market located within Kenoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion.
At Kenoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Acura of Omaha has more than 100 quality pre-owned vehicles with most priced thousands below market value. Get our best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com. That's AcuraofOmaha.com.
Steve Sipple breaks down the Michigan game and previews the Wisconsin game tonight at Holy Ghost Church on 52nd and Q. Doors open at 5, program starts at 7, and it's only $10 for adults and $5 for children. Sponsored by Beer City and Mama's Pizza.
Are you that relative who's always asked to bring plates and napkins to the family dinner? Bring brews instead, especially quality, locally brewed Nebraska beers and ciders. The Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild wants you to know that local brewers are working on special seasonal beverages to make your holiday family get-togethers a day full of fun, football, and feasting. Lots and lots of feasting. Plus, you'll never be asked to bring plates and napkins again, especially if your goofy cousin from Iowa brings that state's favorite beer. Cheers.
Imagine it's cold and frigid and your home's heater just quit. Sometimes a heating system is beyond repair and needs to be replaced. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our comfort specialists take the frustration out of the equation. We're experienced in everything from boilers to furnaces to heat pumps, ductwork, and all. So call 402-333-5000 for a free duct cleaning with every furnace installation.
Always on time, or you don't take time.
Terms and conditions apply. Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. Despite being one of only 2 Blue Jays to score in double figures in each of the first 2 games, Arthur Kaluma was recovering from an off-season injury. He says the best is still yet to come.
I still haven't been cleared to work out on my own. So most of the time when I get in the gym, it's just with the guys and we practice. But to a certain extent, once I'm able to really get in the gym on my own, I feel like you'll see a totally different player and I'll get my reps up. And the stat sheet going to look a lot better.
Your most important assets are your body, your mind, and your future. When those are jeopardized by an injury that isn't your fault, you need to fight back and regain your life. Barry Law has represented thousands of Nebraskans, protecting their rights and securing their futures. If you've been injured in an accident, add more firepower to your fight. Choose the injury attorneys at Barry Law to make that next step. Call Barry Law at 402-999-7777 or visit BarryLawFirm.com. At Barry Law, we fight alongside those who choose to fight back.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. The Zone Hotline is powered by Los Hills Harley Davidson, your home in the hills. 1620 The Zone.
All right, Monday and Tuesday in Lincoln is the state high school football finals for all the classes. The finals, there are some fantastic matchups. Good luck to our friends on the western coast of Iowa over at Council Bluffs Lewis Central. They're playing at the Unidome in Cedar Falls today to try and win their second straight state title. They are taking on Cedar Rapids Xavier. And a good football team at Council Bluffs Lewis Central.
They do. They have a real nice program over there. Really good sports in general over at Lewis Central. Unfortunately, not playing at home on the west coast of Iowa. Got to travel inland a bit to
Not
capture.
even over to the eastern coast of
Nope.
Iowa.
Nope,
Just the eastern part of Iowa.
Yeah, they unfortunately don't get a play on the coast for their championship, but hopefully they can capture it anyway.
Camrad throwing the football and Humple running the ball. That's a good football program. So good luck to them as they try and win their second straight title. I did see locally yesterday Chris Fant over at Omaha Northwest stepped down.
Yeah,
as the head football coach. That's
a tough job.
Omaha Northwest might be the toughest job maybe in the state for high school football.
It's certainly the hardest job in the metro, I think. And I don't have a real good feel. I know some of those really small town jobs are really challenging because you're just so limited as to who you get. But it's certainly the hardest job in the top two classes in the state, right? A and B for sure. Anything smaller than that, you run into different challenges. But in terms of big school football in the state, by far the hardest job.
And numbers on your roster.
Yeah.
Which you show up to play fellow Class A teams, and they've got 75, 80 players,
yeah, you got 80.
Or even 50, and you might show up and you have 25 to 30. I mean, that's a really, really difficult chore. And
yeah, you're not even too deep on both sides of the ball. No. I mean, you're barely too deep on one side of the ball, right? It's almost impossible with those kind of numbers to compete. I mean, those are Class C and Class D numbers.
And you also are in a part of Omaha where you have a new high school that opened up not very far from you that is also going to take away from some of your enrollment. And you've got other high schools that have opened up. I think Northwest is might be the toughest job in the entire state of Nebraska.
Yeah.
For high school football.
And part of the problem is there's no clear answer, right? There's a lot of places where there's a kind of a clear path to a successful, whether you can execute that path or not is different. But I'm not even sure there's a clear path at Omaha Northwest to this is how you would be successful. I mean, obviously getting your numbers up is the first step, but it's been that way for so long. I just don't even know where you would start.
Well, you have to. I mean, the thing like Omaha Benson's got a chance because
and Benson's been a hard job
amazing.
too.
You got a coaching staff at Benson, which guys aren't in the hallways.
Yeah,
which makes it even more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But you start early before they ever get to high school.
Yep.
So that you give them a path to come to your high school and not go elsewhere. And you mine the 7th and 8th grade, and you've got to be working all the time with all your connections to make sure that players that want to play football that
don't go elsewhere.
Yeah, they don't go elsewhere. They come to your school, and you build up a relationship before they ever are in high school. And that's not for everybody. And sometimes you don't have access to do that.
Well, and it's really easy.
I get the guys at Benson, man. They have a plan. They have a plan to make sure that they get kids that could go to Benson, are going to be interested in Benson and going to stay at Benson.
And there's a handful of jobs in OPS that are really, really challenging. Obviously, Northwest, Benson's one of them. Bryan's one of them that are really, really challenging jobs. Omaha South has been more challenging at different points than it is maybe now. But the problem with some of these jobs is it's so easy to just say, hey, I'd rather go to Omaha Central or I'd rather go to Omaha North. And especially like a Benson, Omaha North is not that far away from an Omaha Benson. And it's really easy to just go, Omaha North's got a little bit better track record. I want to be good at football. I'm sure Coach Martin over there is maybe in their ear a little bit too. There's just so many other options. And it's a lot easier to say, hey, I'm going to go here where I can see the path. I mean, it's a little bit the same way with Nebraska right now, right? It's really easy to go to Wisconsin or Iowa and be like, hey, I already know the path that I can get to where I need to go at Wisconsin and Iowa. Right now, if you're at Nebraska, you have to kind of chart that path. It's sort of the same deal at a Benson or a Bryan or a Northwest where it's really easy just to go somewhere where the path is already laid out and finding a kid that not only is talented enough to kind of change, or not even one kid, but a bunch of kids that are talented enough to change your fortunes, but also that are of the mindset that they want to chart the path rather than go down the one that's already been laid out for them, it's a really, really hard job.
I worry about high school football at the OPS level.
Yeah.
I mean, now there's 2 jobs open because Central is open as well.
Yeah.
Just the numbers. Not everybody is North, which, Larry does an incredible job. And
Yeah.
it's not easy. As much success as North has had, it's not easy being the head coach at
It's not
North.
easy there at all. Yeah.
So I've won, it really escalated when they took 2020 off.
Mhm.
But I worry a lot about OPS football, and especially in a city where you know how good high school football is, and you know
Mhm.
how competitive to put rosters together.
Yeah.
But there's 2 OPS jobs that are now open.
And again, if you're a really good, talented player and you want to go play in college, where are you going to go? You're not going to go to one of those places. You're going to go to a West Side, a Bellevue West, one of the Millard schools. Like that's where you're going. If you want to go, you're Creighton Prep, Scott, you're going to find a way to go to one of those schools so that you can be in front of the people that you need to be in front of to go play at college, at the college, even if it's not Division I, even if you're like a Division II, NAI, whatever it is, you're going to go to the places where there's a clear path on how to get to the next level.
All right, 7:48. Next hour, Sip will join us. Also, Ask Us Anything coming up at 9:30. Then Brian Edwards will stop by as well. We do have Thursday night football tonight. Going to be cold at Lambeau. Not a surprise. That has a feeling of the under. I think the total is 42. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Packers are a 3-point favorite.
I've got it down to 41 now.
All right, so it's dropping like the temp.
It is.
Or the amount of snow that's going to fall in Buffalo over the weekend.
How much are we predicting now?
So they're at 3 feet. I saw Cantori said it's 3 feet.
Oof.
That's not bad. That's only 36 inches.
Run the ball.
That actually is a lot, though, Gary. 36 inches of snow is quite a bit.
That's what they say. It's 36 inches is a lot.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah, it's tough to deal with.
Very tough to deal with.
Well, you have to drive in it. You have to play in it. Unless you were Mac Action last night, and how glorious was that to see it in a
wonderful.
Blizzard? It was almost too much because they had. I mean, you had to plow the lines and all that stuff.
You'd like it a little bit lighter, but the aesthetics of it are beautiful. Love it.
Why I love Maction in November. You always get one of those games.
I like it because it's random football on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
And it has turned in. There have been back-to-back night crazy games.
Yes,
usually are.
By the way, shout out Tim Albin, who took over Frank Solich at Ohio.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody's seen what he's doing, but former Nebraska assistant. Ohio is having a good season. Good on
Bobcats,
Tim.
baby.
Good on Tim. I always enjoyed my conversations with him. He was loyal, longtime right-hand man of Frank.
Mhm.
And then instead of going outside, they kept it in the family. He's having a really, really nice year over in Athens.
Yeah. Listen, it's a nice group of 5 program over there now.
Hey, it wasn't when Frank took over.
No, it was a really bad job when Frank took it.
Yeah, and he elevated that to where it is one of the top programs in the MAC.
It's a very solid Power 5 job or a group of 5 job in general. But no, when Frank took over, it was one of the worst jobs in the country.
Mhm.
It was like Buffalo pre-Turner.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Well, then there was a guy named Lance Leipold.
Right, but there was before Turner. It was a wasteland at Buffalo, and yeah, they were off and on after that. But
And that's why his name got so hot back then,
Yeah.
because he won at Buffalo.
because
I mean, that was your argument.
It was stunning to have a bowl season at Buffalo.
People forget that Khalil Mack went to Buffalo.
Good old Khalil Mack.
No.
Return of the Mack.
We'll return after this on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Thank you to everyone who voted for MD West One in the Best of Omaha contest. We are thrilled to announce MD West One has been named the #1 private medical practice in Omaha for 4 years in a row. MD West One is also named first place in the orthopedic surgery and neurosurgical spine surgery. Our 34 board certified surgeons specialize in treating every bone, joint, or muscle condition from head to toe. Go to MDWest1.com to meet the #1 place to go for orthopedic, neurosurgery, and spine.
Hey, Tapper for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is sign up with promo code HAPPER. Yes, of course, FanDuel Sportsbook has all the normal things, the money lines, the point spreads that you can jump into. But the great thing about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can dive inside the game for your chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. There's also live betting, updated odds by the minute on games that have already started. And when you win, you get paid out fast. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code HAPPER for your no sweat first bet. That's promo code HAPPER, HAPPER. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline has a new number, 988. There is hope for 24/7 support. Just call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station. If you're in charge of the company holiday party, Blackstone Meatball has you covered. Blackstone Meatball is all about hosting and catering great food for whatever reason you get together. Work with their skilled team to build a customizable menu that includes meatballs, pastas, veggies, side dishes, and a whole lot more. Visit theblackstonemeatball.com for all the details. The Blackstone Meatball in the Blackstone District on 38th and Harney and out west on Chicago Street off 180th and West Dodge.
Dell Technologies Black Friday event has arrived with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 50% off select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One. Thursday Night Football coming up with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers hosting Ryan Tannehill and the 6-3 Tennessee Titans. Green Bay is coming off a big win over the Cowboys, breaking a 5-game losing streak. Can they make it 2 wins in a row and get their season back on track? Join me and Ben Lieber from Lambeau Field to find out on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on 1620, The Zone.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props, so sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
1620 The Zone.
All right, as we wrap up this hour, keep an eye out west, not the western coast of Iowa, but on the West Coast, because today is the day that the regents in California will sign off on UCLA or continue to be a thorn in the side. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
But they have made it a little uncomfortable. I mean, this is a no-brainer. They would essentially, they would throw a big haymaker to athletics at UCLA. And you'd also, you're going to do that on the weekend of a USC UCLA game mattering?
Well, and it's, I understand that they probably don't love them abandoning the rest of the California schools, but as regents, I would assume you're responsible for making the best financial decision as well. And there's just no way you can justify keeping UCLA from that amount from the Big Ten money, right? I mean, that's you're being negligent at that point if you're trying to pull something like that off. So I understand they're probably going to make it as painful as possible, but I have to imagine that this is inevitable.
So you would have that official that UCLA is now, they're going to join USC and they're going to be in the Big Ten here shortly. There's the other part of the Pac-12, which, we all think the Big 12 is doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Gonzaga plays in Austin yesterday. There is the story out this morning that Gonzaga officials met with Big 12 officials again in Austin. What is the Pac-12 doing?
I have no idea.
They are idly standing by. Now, Gonzaga does not have football, but they do have basketball. And think about basketball in the Big 12 with Baylor and KU and Houston, and then you would add Gonzaga.
Even like BYU. BYU's a nice program for football.
BYU can't.
Or for basketball.
If Gonzaga went to the Big 12, BYU can't get away from Gonzaga.
Yeah.
They would be livid. But what is the Pac-12 doing?
I think they're dying is what's happening. Because, look at what's probably going to happen here, right? UCLA and USC leave. I still think Washington and Oregon leave eventually. So what are you left with as a conference there? Your marquee program at that point is Stanford, who struggles in everything that's not an Olympic sport. Like all the money sports they really struggle in. Cal struggles in everything. Arizona State are not marquee programs. If you're the Big 12, you probably start pilfering the rest of those programs too. Utah, Arizona State all make sense in the Big 12.
That's why the four corner schools want in, especially Arizona.
Are they going to? You probably leave Colorado out in the cold. Be like, hey, go be a Mountain West school.
Oh, I think Colorado have to go back to the Big 12.
You think the Big 12 would take them back? What does Colorado bring at this point?
If the networks tell them to.
Yeah, it's like if the money people in the Big 12 say Gonzaga is we need him.
Yeah,
you're getting Gonzaga.
100%. Yeah.
If the money people in the Big 12 say, I can see a path to where Colorado could enhance us, boom, Colorado's in the Big 12.
That's the question, though. What does Colorado enhance?
It's a nice road trip.
Yeah.
Good. Boulder's beautiful.
Boulder is beautiful, but in terms of...
They give you basketball.
I guess.
No, CU is... Look,
Tad's a good coach.
CU, look at the recruiting. I got some dudes in this recruiting class. Colorado basketball, baby.
It's a short history of success.
Sean Vanderveer, Jay Humphreys, Chauncey Billups.
We're going back 30 years now to get to...
Okay, I'll give you a guy more recent.
Derek White.
Boom. NBA guy. Almost a world champion.
You said you were going to give me someone more recent.
Wow.
He gave me somebody more recent.
Jimmy wanted to jump on that.
He played for the Spurs. That's the only reason I have that.
Some programs aren't great in football, but they're better in basketball. It happens.
I understand that, but it's not like Colorado's so good in basketball that you would be like, hey, we have to get Colorado back. You know what I mean?
I just went to the Denver TV market, which is...
It's a good market.
People there until it is ski season or you start losing. Broncos start, they don't pay attention to you.
I'm just saying you've got a team that struggles financially to keep up, or a school that struggles financially to keep up. And if you're the Big 12, you're already bringing in a basketball school in Gonzaga. You probably want everybody else you bring in to bring something to the table from a football standpoint. And maybe you just want to stick it to Colorado. Maybe you want to leave them out in the cold for leaving. Is that crazy?
One variable.
Is that crazy that you should be like, forget you, Colorado. You left. Peace. Good luck. Enjoy the West Coast Conference. Maybe I'm just petty, but if I'm a Big 12 money person, it's like, enjoy your time in a group of 5, Colorado. That's where you belong. Go hang out with Colorado State.
Their fans wouldn't mind being back. It'd be a conference that would not have Nebraska in it.
Right.
But it would have more familiarity.
Sure. Yeah. And it's not like things have gone terribly well for you in the Pac-12.
No, but there was a time, you may forget this. There was a time not too long ago that Colorado was playing in the Pac-12 football championship.
They sure were.
That guy is not the coach there anymore.
Yeah.
But they were in the Pac-12 championship. I just want to point that out. I guess I'm here for CU today.
Apparently, you're going Buffs homer on me today.
Big fan of Boulder and Denver, Colorado. Beautiful campus.
So you can go there on winter break. You don't have to invite them in your conference.
Shout out Pearl Street.
I just wondered what the Pac-12 was doing.
I think the Pac-12 has been asleep at the wheel for a while, and they're going to get their entire conference rated. I mean, there's no way that Oregon and Washington stay without USC and UCLA.
They look really good in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they do. And plus, then you can just have, hey, here's our West Coast road trip.
Well, this is what you could do in the Pac-12. Go up north, add Gonzaga. Go south, add San Diego State.
Sure.
Who just beat one of your teams in the Pac-12 last night in Stanford.
That you can do that.
And they've got good basketball. They got a brand new football stadium.
But that would
at least care about football.
Require competent leadership.
You can't be asleep at the wheel. I'm George, and I are tight. I'm intrigued by him. I think he's been a little bit slower than the Big 12 commissioner.
Yeah.
He does have some good ideas.
You got to be ahead of these things, though.
Well, that's been a little bit of a problem because the Big 12 acted quickly. Remember, this is
Yormark's been at it.
Preach and play.
Yeah.
This is the Wisconsin football model. They preach what they're going to do, and then they go and play it. The guy at the Big 12 said, this is what we're going to do, and then went and did it.
Here's the question.
Pac-12 also has a lot of different issues with the state of California and
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of things going on there.
And he's got to pick up a lot more from Larry Scott. But the Big 12, yes, has trumped what the Pac-12 has done in a short amount of time.
Well, and the Pac-12 was starting from a deficit because of where the previous commissioner left them. But here's the question they have to ask yourself about an Oregon and a Washington, right? Because I think we both agree those are the most likely candidates to jump over to the Big Ten. Does adding a Gonzaga and a San Diego State make it worth your while to stay?
Oh, no.
That's right. So then you're out UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington. All you've added are Gonzaga and San Diego State. What is your conference then?
The whole thing starts imploding.
Right. So even if you can, you can't get the money close enough without UCLA and USC, without the LA market. You can't get the money anywhere close enough to justify an Oregon and a Washington staying there, especially when you've got already two West Coast teams to make their life a little bit easier. It just, to me, it doesn't add up that you can salvage this thing with current members. I mean, they probably should have gone and gotten BYU. That makes sense as a Pac-12 school, and they let them go to the Big 12. I mean, you had options before, and those options pretty quickly dried up. And now you're in a place where you're primed to get raided.
It's crazy. The Pac-12 here shortly is going to have no connection to LA. No connection.
At all.
At all. Which is
and that was probably the most lucrative part of that conference.
Weird feeling this weekend that the marquee game in college football is in Los Angeles.
They're taking tarps off.
USC
Big
and
deal.
UCLA. And it's going to be a great uniform game.
And it's going to be a game that does not exist in the Pac-12 2 years from now.
No, and think about this. So I think UCLA is going to be able to fight through all this, and they'll get approved, and they're off to the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a hiccup, USC, UCLA would be done. They would not play in football because there's no way USC would play in the non-con Notre Dame and UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, USC is not sticking back because of UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, that essentially, if you made the decision to fight UCLA going to the Big Ten, you would end UCLA, USC football.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee that happening. But I got to imagine that'll be a blank show today.
And even then, right? So let's say you block UCLA from going to the Big Ten. If you're the Big Ten, don't you just put a full court press on Washington and Oregon just to spite the Pac-12 at that point?
Yeah.
I guess it's not the Pac-12's fault.
You already have them on your radar.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you go from on the radar to, we can't have UCLA. All right. Well, we're taking your other teams then.
Yeah, we got you, USC. We get you somebody.
But I don't foresee this happening. I think
I don't either.
Like, hey, UCLA, make it happen. Whatever you got to do, because we can't have this. And essentially, that would be a major, major handcuff to UCLA athletics.
Yeah, I mean, you might. It relegates them to. I mean, I don't know if you want to say mid-major status, but certainly second-class citizen in athletics.
Well, and then you got to look at the financial aspect too.
Which UCLA is not in great financial position either. So I mentioned this earlier, to deny them the opportunity to join a conference that helps them out so much financially, I just don't even know how as a regent you could justify that.
All right, SIP's coming up in this hour on 1620 The Zone. Hey, what is coming up is an opportunity for you to slide into a good midsize SUV like the 2023 GMC Acadia, which you can find now at Woodhouse Buick GMC with their climate-controlled indoor showroom at 119th and I. They have plenty of Acadias for you, whatever trim you want. Maybe you want the Denali. It has an interior as adaptable as you. They've got the flexibility of the second and third row seating, and they've got the Smart Slide second row seats that offer adaptability for an ever-changing agenda. So you don't know how many people you're going to be hauling, how big your family is. Well, this mid-size SUV is perfect for you. Plus, they've got great safety features like forward collision alert, distance indicator, automatic emergency braking, rear park assist, front pedestrian braking, rear cross traffic alert, everything that you want in a vehicle, all the technology and safety right at your fingertips in the 2023 GMC Acadia. You can find out at Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I, or you can begin your journey online where you can see all the same inventory, interact with the knowledgeable sales staff at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have one accident that has the center lane blocked near 120th and Dodge, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for some significant slowdown between 84th and 72nd. And on Center, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 175th to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Join us in supporting Food Bank for the Heartland. Right now, if you donate 5 cans of food, you can get a furnace safety inspection and cleaning for only $55. Request service at justcallburton.com.
There are actually 2 kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Fall is in full swing, and that means there's a lot of great events coming up all over the area, from the Huskers in football or basketball, the concerts, holiday shows. There's so much to check out. And when you need tickets, be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. You want to go see the Huskers in Memorial Stadium or the Chiefs at Arrowhead or maybe that big show at CHI Health Center, Tickets for Less has you covered. So save on your next order at ticketsforless.com. When you use the code THEZONE, go to ticketsforless.com. Find the seats that you want to the events you want to be at. Use the promo code ZONE. Good on any ticket purchase at ticketsforless.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember for 18 years with our award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio-video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Halftime brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
Hey, we have a hot dog and soda combo war going on, I see, as Sam's has undercut Costco.
Oh.
So
They're cheaper than the $1.50?
$1.38 at Sam's.
Ooh.
Which is such an odd price.
It really is. I haven't been to Sam's in a really long time.
I don't think you can cheat.
Well, I'm a Costco guy.
I don't think you can cheat.
I know some people double dip.
I know they do, but
They
I
like-
don't think you can. I think you got to be loyal.
It's
You're
not-
either a Costco or you're a Sam's. You can't be both.
So mine is location based. I am much closer to the Costco, and so I haven't had a Sam's hot dog in a while. I can verify that the Costco hot dog is elite.
I've never had a Sam's hot dog. What? Anybody know what the difference is?
I don't. I had one when I was a kid, but it's been too long. I can't really speak to that.
I've never had a Costco one. I feel like I'm missing out.
I can't.
You can go to Costco and not have to be a member there to get the hot dog and
yeah, you just can't buy anything there.
Yeah.
Like they'll let you walk in and do whatever there, and you can get your hot dog, your pizza, whatever.
Just here for the hot
But you can't check out. That's where you really verify the Costco membership. But the Costco hot dog is really, really good. And there's no good way to say this. It's a good size. It's a good size hot dog. Very filling. You'll be left satisfied. You want me to keep going? Or are you good?
No,
I'm enjoying it.
I'm only on snow and how large snow is.
Have you seen
about the hot dog, or we?
Yeah, so it's still on the hot dog. Have you seen there's these like TikTok videos of people will take a piece of the Costco pizza and roll the hot dog up in it and use the pizza as a bun? I haven't gone that far yet. I've thought about it. I'm gonna be honest. I've heard it's really good. I haven't been able to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah,
yet.
you know what? I think I'm good there.
You're good?
Yeah.
You don't want the hot dog and the pizza?
No, not together, not rolled up.
I like the hot dog by itself. It's very good. So I don't know if I want to change that situation. But there's a part of me that's curious.
Tim says in the Equitable Bank inbox, there have been a lot of times lately due to staffing issues where the Sam's Club snack bar has not been open.
That has not been the case
for Costco.
That's not the case for Costco. The Costco snack bar is always open.
Steve in the Equitable Bank inbox wants to know if Matt Rule is the next head coach at Nebraska. Will they do a promotion called Rule Out Around the World? You remember the failed promotion of the Nebraska-Texas game back in
2010?
the day? Read out around the world, how much they put into one game and what happened in that game?
Yeah, that was a mistake. That didn't go well at all.
There are probably, to answer the question, there are probably a lot of marketing opportunities with a name like that.
Yeah, I think so. There's some obvious tie-ins there. I don't know if that's the main reason you hire a head coach, but it can't hurt.
I was just checking to see if there was a domain that was available. Remember when college football coaches had their own website?
Yeah.
I remember Mac Brown, TexasFootball.com.
Yeah, Mac Brown made a nice amount of money off his own website.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What was on there? Just was he like blogging?
Well, he would give like special stuff. There would be special video content.
Okay.
But it would be separate from the Texas football website. It was a Mac Brown Texas football website. So that was like a 2-year run where you saw more
98.
coaches would have their own websites.
You probably just do that on social media now, right? If you wanted to get out extra content.
Yeah, or the social media teams are so good at colleges nowadays.
Yeah.
They probably give you the platform there.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably fair. You could you probably can't make any extra money if you're doing it through the school though, right?
Well, then Franchione took it to another level at A&M and tried to make some money off it.
Yeah.
It didn't go well.
MattRule.com is currently under construction. Please check back for an update soon.
Yeah, you just got to wait for him to be announced as Nebraska head coach. It'll be up and running, right?
Or if you'd like to jump on this before he gets his next job. It is not, let me see what the price would be to buy this domain.
Oh, interesting. You're going to try and buy it out from the current owner?
No. I don't have any.
You don't want to make any money on mattrule.com?
No, I'm good. It actually, okay. To purchase the domain name is not that expensive.
Okay.
Did you hear about there was a SWAC school that, and by the way, the SWAC in basketball is having like a really, really good week.
Mm-hmm.
There is one that won just the other night, but they forgot to renew their website.
Uh-oh.
And so someone bought their domain.
Oh, no.
And so they could have gone on and, promoted their victory.
Yeah, it didn't go.
And someone had already purchased their domain.
Uh-oh. That's a bad look.
You think?
That's not ideal.
No, but good for the SWAC.
Somebody dropped the ball there.
All right. Joe says, I'm loyal to my wallet. We'll get a good deal regardless which place it's at, Costco or Sam's.
Fair.
Rulefornebraska.com is available.
No, we're not doing this.
No?
We might be 67 days in. We're not doing this.
Yeah, at least wait 2 more days.
But back to Joe. Joe is, he's playing both sides.
Yeah, listen, I understand the...
Did you go to Sam's and say, hey, I'm a Costco person, but I'd just like to check out Sam's, and they might give you like a 1-day pass?
You get kind of like one of those gym membership passes where you're like, just come check it out.
Uh-huh.
NebraskaRules.com, also available.
That doesn't roll off. No. Now, see what you're going to start here is people are going to start grabbing avatars.
It's too late.
And then we're going to have a bunch of another day of all these parody accounts.
Yeah, well, verified parody accounts too.
I'll just pay your $8 and you're good.
I'll stop. No more domain names. I'm done. I got off the website. I'm out of there.
Later this morning, Mickey Joseph will speak after practice. There'll be a Casey Thompson update, I imagine. How much he can be used against Wisconsin. But the promising news, at least it gives you, it doesn't all of a sudden go, whoa, Nebraska is going to go from being a 13-point underdog. They could win this game. It does give you a different sense.
It does.
With him at quarterback.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about this offense, and we'll get into it a little bit with Sip when he joins us at the bottom of the hour, is is Casey Thompson, even a Casey Thompson that has a hand issue on his throwing hand, against a defense that is really, really good. We're going to have words here in the break, you and I.
Yeah?
Because now people are like grabbing websites and stuff. Is a Casey Thompson, let's say, at 80%? Good enough to help Nebraska on offense find rhythm. They have not had rhythm. You know how, you got to have rhythm, that great song?
Yeah.
16 points in the last 2.5 games, 7 straight quarters without a touchdown. But any rhythm that allows them to stack plays and stay on the field, is this going to be a repeat of Michigan where you didn't have the ball a ton? And the reason you didn't have the ball a ton is because you were 3 and out, or you were 5-play drives and you were punting it away.
Yeah.
And then Michigan would go on long drives, even though did Corum? I don't think Corum had a run longer than 12 yards in that game, did he?
I think he had a 17.
Okay.
But yeah.
But he did not break the backbreaker.
Not at all.
But is an 80% Casey Thompson good enough to help you on offense where you find some rhythm and you can stay on the field?
So that's a really difficult question, because normally with an injury, let's say it was an ankle or something, right? You would say, yeah, 80% Casey Thompson is probably the best option here. The problem with his specific injury is, I'm going to be honest, it feels like a pretty binary situation. Like he can either grip the ball or he cannot grip the ball. So I don't know what a 80% grip of the ball does for you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that looks like. That seems like such a, either you can do it or you cannot do it, black and white situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're 80% gripping the ball, that means you can't grip the ball. And if you can't grip the ball, you can't throw the ball. So that's where I really don't know with his specific issue. If like to me, it's either you have to he can either grip the ball or he can't, and I really don't know what an 80% or an 85% Casey Thompson does for you. I'm just really not sure what that looks like because it's a really unique injury, right? You don't see a lot of like a sprained elbow. Sure, that makes a lot of sense. A elbow in which he just can't feel his fingers is a totally different kind of no frame of reference type of injury.
Yeah, the part of the Wisconsin defense, as you get into the numbers, it's not just an incredible rush end and a good plan. Is bad passes end up in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
They're quietly of all the stats that are out there in a 5-5 season for Wisconsin. I think one of the ones that flies really under the radar is they have 15 interceptions on defense. They are 4th in the country in that category.
Yeah. And
you don't even really talk about them getting picks, but they got 15 interceptions in 10 games. Now you look at the host of quarterbacks they played against. I'm
sure.
Okay, they may not be the Strouds and the Youngs of the world, but if a bad ball is thrown, they find a way to get it. And that's why this could be the battle of the pick fest, because Mertz is probably going to give you 3 or 4 balls during the course of a game, which you go, that should be picked.
Yes.
That either is knocked down or
the receiver makes a play
or something like that.
But interceptable balls.
Like missed opportunities.
Doesn't mean he's going to throw 4 interceptions, but you're going to have 4 chances at interceptions probably.
And Iowa, when there were those opportunities last week, they ended up in the hands of a Hawkeye.
Yeah. The other, I mean, not only do they catch the balls that you put out there to be intercepted, but because of their pass rush, they force a lot of those balls as well. You end up with a lot of opportunities if you're the Wisconsin defense because their pass rush is so good also. So that is another issue that Nebraska is going to have to face because the offensive line isn't great. That's not news. And then if you've got a Casey Thompson who's maybe a little bit, let's say he's playing and is maybe a little bit more eager to get rid of the ball because of the injury, you're probably going to end up with some situations where Wisconsin's going to have a more than normal amount of interceptable balls on the defensive side. It doesn't add up great for Nebraska if Casey Thompson isn't ready to go. Because, like I said, if there's any bit of that hand that isn't gripping the ball well, you're going to have tons of accuracy issues. And against a good pass rush with a team that's really good at intercepting the ball, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
All right, Stips coming up here in a little bit. Ask Us Anything in an hour, and Brian Edwards will stop by as well. We'd like you to stop by. Our final time will be at Jonesboro's Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village tomorrow morning from 6 until 10 with a Football Friday fiesta ahead of the final home game. The next time Nebraska plays at home, wow.
September?
It'd be really, really different. Yeah.
I hope it. I mean, you hope it's really different.
You just think about quick. This is the quirky part of me. So the final home game is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, you thought that would have a lot of meaning, and it does have meaning. It has meaning for Nebraska. You haven't beat Wisconsin since 2012. You could for the first time all year beat a team from the West. You'd get a trophy. You would feel good to go out that way in a year that's turned into a crap sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has meaning on both sides because Wisconsin could be bowl eligible as well.
Yeah.
And hey, we've got 256 different scenarios on what could happen with the Big Ten West. Crazier things have happened. So Wisconsin could win their last 2 games, and chaos could ensue, and Wisconsin could still be alive.
Yeah.
So both sides have meaning on Saturday. But the quirky part of me thinks way down the road that from Saturday, when Nebraska plays Wisconsin at 11 a.m., to when Nebraska comes home in game 3 of the 2023 season, because you go Minnesota, Colorado on the road, how different it could look. Or how different it will look.
I was going to say, yeah.
Just think of that like weird dynamic. When you walk out of the stadium after the game on Saturday to the next time, I'm taking out spring football.
Sure.
But you walk in for another game where they turn the scoreboard on and it matters. Are we prepared to handle that?
I'm prepared for a lot of changes.
That roller coaster of, again, You don't know what it's going to be like when you walk out of the stadium, and then you're going to walk back in the following season.
I don't
It's gonna
know
be
that
drastically
it's,
different.
I don't know that it's that much of a roller coaster, is it? Not this year.
No, but you're going to ride the emotion. You know how this is going to go. So there'll be the initial new coach, shiny new toy, the recruiting, the portal, new guys on the roster, new staff members that we've never heard of before. We all break down every offensive and defensive tendency that new coach has, okay? And then as you get towards spring football, you get videos are out there and you get all excited because you have also some new guys and you have some younger guys that, man, I think the light switch is going to come on. So then you get to spring and it's brand new and there's a lot of optimism. You know what that's like. And then it's just going to continue to build and you'll talk yourself into blank wins and you'll be super excited, and you should. I mean, you hire a coach to re-energize.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't hire a coach to have people go, okay.
That's kind of why I
Okay.
don't think there's a roller coaster, because people will be energized.
But here you go.
Okay.
So then you know how this fan base is. Then you talk yourself out of being excited. Oh, geez. And then, as it always happens, regardless if Gary Sharp is coaching Nebraska, as you get close to the season, people get excited.
Are you announcing that you're a candidate?
No, I don't want the job.
No,
I heard it pays well.
it's decent. Good benefits, I bet.
I don't want the job.
No, I think
but it would be fabulous if I was the Jeff Saturday of Nebraska with absolutely no playing experience outside of 2 years of varsity playing experience at Urbandale High School.
Urbandale, there you go.
Yeah.
I think,
but then camp will open up and you get excited because it's new. Okay, it's fresh.
See, that's why I don't think.
And then you'll be like, don't do it to you. Then the win total will come out.
Yeah.
And you'll be like,
See, I think it kind of depends on who the name ends up being. Because the way I see this playing out is either the name comes out and people aren't excited about it, and then they talk themselves into it, and then you kind of have that upswing. If it's a name people aren't excited about initially, I think you have more of a roller coaster. If it's a name people are excited about off the bat, I think it's just a steady upward climb where more and more people talk themselves into it and convince themselves it's going to be good. And by the time you get to fall practice and game number 3, where they walk back into the Memorial Stadium, I think people are just really, really high on it. If it's let's say it's Matt Rule, I think most people would be okay with Matt Rule right off the bat. That's a good hire and a name people that seem to be okay with. I don't think you'd have that much of a roller coaster. I really don't. I think whoever isn't on board initially just gradually talks themselves into it at a certain part of the process. But I think that's a name that a lot of people off the jump would be into and just be excited about until the spring and then the fall. I don't know that you get a roller coaster with Matt Rule.
You don't have an email here, so you're not getting the emails.
It's true. I don't have 1620 as own email.
That's the goal.
So people are probably not fully sharing your sentiment.
All right.
I get what you're saying.
I'm just basing off of Twitter conversations that I have.
The next Nebraska football coach will be the smart hire. Will be a smart hire for the University of Nebraska.
Which is good.
Smart will be the key word.
Smart is good.
Smart.
I like smart.
Fitty smart.
Fitty smart?
Fitty smart.
I'm unfamiliar with that term.
F-I-T-T-Y.
Oh,
smart.
Fit and smart. Yes. Okay.
Fitty smart.
I thought it was like 50 smart.
Nope.
That's what I thought too.
Nope. Not 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Fitty smart. Not Bruce Reed. 450. Fitty smart. Right,
Bruce Reed's not going to be the next head coach?
Bruce Reed is coaching.
Yeah.
If you want to spend this afternoon, just research where former Mike Riley assistants are. They are in some there are some eccentric places in college football. Not at the Division I level.
Sure.
But there's some obscure places where like the Bruce Reeds and the Hank Hughes are coaching at right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. They're still in the game. Still giving back.
Well, sure. They love the game.
That's one way to describe it. We're back with more after this.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Connie Mack only won 9 pennants in his 55 years as a manager. What a bum.
Could you imagine sports radio in the time of Connie Mack? Boy, I tell you, this Connie Mack guy just can't get it done. Can't win the big one. Can't get over the hump. Only 5 World Series. Connie Mack, more like Connie Hack, am I right?
That's exactly how they talked.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A chance for a quick hit of light snow or flurries Thursday morning, mainly before 9 a.m. Otherwise, expect a windy and cold day ahead with mostly cloudy skies. Highs will top out around 30 around lunchtime, then slide into the 20s later in the afternoon. Wind chills in the teens. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect some significant delays from 156th all the way to 132nd along Dodge. Then on Industrial Road, be prepared for some major delays from 149th to 138th. And on Highway 370, it looks like things are slowing down only a little bit from 60th to 42nd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Cool air temperatures mixed with warm soil temperatures means it's time to plant. Visit Lanahaas Garden Center for the Metro's largest selection of homegrown trees and plants. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanahaas Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton Volleyball wraps up their regular season on the road this weekend and will return to DJ Sokol Arena as Creighton hosts the 2022 Big East Volleyball Championship. Don't miss any of the action as the top 6 teams compete for a Big East Championship. Quarterfinal action starts on Wednesday. Check out gocreighton.com/tickets for more information. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Visit Sid Dillon Chevrolet to shop inventory or to order your new vehicle. And we're your Chevrolet Business Elite dealer offering medium-duty trucks and low-cab forwards.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Chevy, find new roads.
For the past year, 42 Degrees has partnered with the Omaha Veterans Pantry. On Veterans Day, 42 Degrees will donate a portion of our sales to the food pantry, and your donations will reward you with a discount. So come help a veteran and save. 42 Degrees.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
Is your car making a howling, growling, or crunching noise? It could be related to the drivetrain, which consists of your transmission, your transfer case, and differentials. Omaha Transmission is specialized in diagnosing and repairing all those components. Don't diagnose it yourself. Take out the guesswork and have us tell you for sure.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We continue to grow and add new customers. Many employers are looking for new ideas for their staff as people return to the office. Our pantry service is a great office amenity for staff and guests. Fresh food, snacks, coffee, water, and other beverages for employees and guests. Enhance your office experience with pantry service from Host Coffee. Learn more at hostcoffee.net.
1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in, and we welcome in Stephen M. Sipple from On3. Good morning, Sip.
Gary, how are you doing?
Steve, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. That's very nice of you.
Doing fine.
I know you've got your ear to the ground, and we're inching. I said we're inside of the 5-yard line, but we're not near the goal line yet. Any takeaway from Trev last night that maybe you were like, okay, that makes more sense? Because that was basically, it was Trev being Trev on the radio, where he was transparent but didn't give you everything. But what was your takeaways last night, listening to him talk about how this process is gone and how we're getting towards the end, but you're going to have to be a little bit more patient?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he handled it. He handled it well. I'm frankly glad that he is so transparent. I think it's really helpful. And I just would emphasize that the situation's fluid, and that's the way he portrayed it. But we're getting down now to the nitty gritty. I'd say, yeah, inside the 10. And you might take a loss late too. You might get back, might have to try to move forward again. So we'll see what all goes down here. But I think he has a good plan. But everything I've heard suggests to me that he has a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's fallback. So we'll see what. We're all just very interested in to see how it shakes out, and I think it will shake out. I think it's possible it could shake out before the Iowa game, but I doubt. I think we're looking at right after.
I agree with you, and I think there's an important part here from an athletic director trying to hire a football coach that also played, and I think has gotten pretty close to the 22 roster. Is he already knows that it's been a crap sandwich of a year and the distractions, that he doesn't want to have that stuff overshadow them playing football games. Like, I think people are like, well, what will there be, an announcement here? And, there was some chatter a couple of weeks ago, but I think he understands, hey, let these guys play out their season. All right, let's keep the focus on them. Well, the elephant in the room is we're trying to hire a football coach for 23. I respect Trev in that case, because I think there's some guys that also on that roster and probably on the coaching staff are like, thank you. Because if you had announced a coach a couple of weeks ago, how are we going to keep guys' attention? Or what's that going to do to our locker room? And, oh, by the way, we're the ones that got to go out there and play football against Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa.
Always amazed by how, and I don't want, I really got to avoid sounding obnoxiously preachy. But I am amazed by that, how you hear people say season's over, Sip. Grow up. They got to move on. Doesn't matter. It matters. Again, I always start to sound preachy in this, but there's only 12 games. Those kids only get 12 games. Those players only get 12 games. And Trev's a former player. I mean, that's a big part of this conversation. He knows what winter workouts are about and what that year-round grind is about. No, and you're right too, Gary. He did get close to this team, close enough that, I think the only reason you would do it before the Iowa game is because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you 100%. 100%. I respect the student athlete. I respect athletes. I respect what they have to deal with. I respect what they're up against on Saturday, then on Black Friday. I'm 100% with that. 100%.
Sip, one of the quotes that was ran with the most from Trev last night was that the Nebraska job has garnered even more respect, or the university has garnered even more respect than Trev even realized it would. To you, is that just kind of a throwaway fluff line, or do you think that's something that has actually impacted the coaching search process, the amount of respect people have for the university?
I think it's reaffirming more than anything. I mean, I know what comment you're talking about, and what I'm getting at here is I don't remember if Trev expressed surprise at that. I think it made an impression on him. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, and especially the way he talked about the fan base and the way other coaches regard it. I'm continually amazed by that, and I'm sure other coaches are. I think around here we maybe come to take it for granted that there's a sellout streak, and or forget the sellout streak. I mean, people always, they're so cynical about that now. Just that the stadium's full. It's always full. I mean, I've always been amazed by it. So I'm not surprised that other coaches outside are amazed. I've gone to games that at other venues that feel like a Nebraska spring game, and it always makes an impression on me. In fact, the Nebraska spring game always makes an impression on me because I'm like, man, this is a better atmosphere than some of the atmospheres you go to on the road, be it non-conference games of the past or current Big Ten games.
How do you think, and he used, and Trev brought up the fan base that he gets the feedback on, and even in a 34-3 game in Ann Arbor, there were about 10,000 Nebraska fans that made the trip to Ann Arbor. Now, they may have been local, so it wasn't a long trip, but there were a lot of people that flew out of Epley up to Detroit. They were probably on a flight with you. So as much as the struggle has been, people still support. We saw that in Dublin. People just want something. He talked about the fan base. So you're Sip, a new coach coming in here. Let's say you're a new coach that has no connection here, didn't play here, never has coached here, maybe has never coached against Nebraska. So you're not intimately familiar with what this thing is here. How would you use the fan base if you were a head coach? Because we hear a lot from the fans, and we know what it's been like over the last 6 years and kind of the tone and the toxicity. But if you're a new coach, how do you use that fan base to your advantage when you take over a job at Nebraska?
I don't know how to answer that.
And it might be, and that might be a tricky question for all of us that are around it every day, because our perception of the fan base might be completely different from somebody that's living in, Houston, Texas, that from the outside just sees a full stadium and the passion and the interaction, and their opinion might be different from us. So maybe that is a difficult question to ask.
Well, I go to the Biden. There's a couple of things that come to mind. I'll give it a whirl. I'd be very cognizant of NIL in that discussion, name, image, likeness. And that's, how would you use it? It can equate into several $1 million. And that can help your roster. When you talk about roster management, what Mickey brought up the other day, I always call it roster management too. Roster management to me is recruiting, but it's way more than that. It's taking care of your current roster, which could include include NIL money, lots of it, and it is also going out and recruiting out of the portal, and that's NIL money. So it's that, but it's also not taking it for granted. I would hope the new coach doesn't ever take for granted what we see. And there's ways to express that you're not taking it for granted. So those are a couple of things that come to mind in terms of using it. I would try to probably, the ex-player factor. I'd try to rally those guys and have them all try to include them as much as I can, because I think that can be important. So those are the things that come immediately to mind. But largely, I would counsel the coach to not take it for granted. And also I would also say, hey, the fan base can be very helpful in that NIL discussion, and it doesn't have to be the very high end donors. It doesn't. There's some pretty grassroots type businesses that would love to be involved in that, and they do get involved in it. So those are the things that come to mind.
Sip, there seems to be an anxiety, maybe an angstiness amongst the fans about the head coaching search. Based on what you hear and things like that, is there, I guess, any legitimate reason to worry about how things have gone, or is this just a result of the fact that we've been doing this for almost 70 days now?
No, I don't think there's it depends from where your anxiety stems. As far as the names that I hear, and I feel pretty good about I have a pretty good idea about it. I wouldn't feel anxiety about the names except for a couple, probably. I think Trev has a good handle on this. That's why I don't personally, I'm a Nebraskan, so I don't want to pretend like I don't have any emotional attachment to it. I have some, but I don't feel the anxiety because I do think Trev has a good handle on this. I'm not saying it's perfect, but these things usually aren't. So no, I don't know. I think anxiety just, you know how it is in this world now. Nobody wants to wait for anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's that. I think some of it's just that people just can't stand the wait, and that I don't have any problem with that. Except there's probably a breaking point where, if it would go past December 5th, the opening of the transfer portal, I don't even know if he could do it without this place completely, going haywire. I really don't. I think you have to almost just get somebody in place.
Steve Sipple joining us here on 1620. Do you see a path to Nebraska winning this weekend? And if you do, what does it look like?
Casey Thompson starting and playing pretty close to where he was at, before he went down. That's other than that, I don't really. It'd be hard because if without Casey, I don't know how you're going to move the ball. You're just not. It's going to be hard to move the ball. Wisconsin's not a great defense. It's not as good as last year's Wisconsin defense. They lost 2 inside linebackers to the pros. Herbig is good as an outside linebacker. You got to double him, but you don't have to double the other side. There's a lot. They're good up. I'll tell you what, though. You watch that Iowa game, and that pass rush was real. They sacked Petra 6 times. And that's if you're a Nebraska, you watch that, and it's scary. Iowa's really deficient up front on offense. They're not a good offensive line. But Nebraska's had its own struggles up there. So if it's not Casey, I don't know how you get to 13. You know, it's going to be hard to get to 13 without some intervention from defensive, a defensive touchdown or putting you in good field position or something on special teams.
Sip, Nebraska's in this stretch of playing some really good running backs from Ibrahim to Chase Brown to Blake Corum and now Braylon Allen. Where does Allen rank in terms of the guys they've seen so far for you?
In terms of these last few guys, so Chase Brown, Ibrahim, Corum, and Allen. I haven't. See, here's the thing. The reason I'm hesitant, I'm about to get back into by semi. In terms of, I haven't seen a lot of Allen this year. I saw him last year, obviously, and he averaged 10.4 yards a carry against Nebraska. He got 228 yards. So where he's different, as Bush mentioned yesterday, and this is true, he's more of a home run hitter than those other guys. If he gets loose, he's going for a ways. He has 4 carries of 70+ yards in his career in just 16 games. 4 carries of 70+ yards. And he has a lot of 30-yard plus games. He's a little bit better in terms of if he gets loose, he's going. Home run hitter. He's bigger than those guys. I'm thinking about those guys right now. Yeah, he's 6'2", 235. He's bigger than all of them. Corum, I would say Corum is the best one, and then Allen, and then Brown, and then Ibrahim. I would have said Ibrahim, I would have put him higher earlier in his career. He's a 6-year guy. He's got so much tread on his tires now. And he's like a veteran. I've compared him to a veteran NBA player who kind of paces himself for parts of games. And then when they really need him, man, like in the second half against Nebraska, that first drive, I was like, whoa, okay, he turned it up. And when he turns it up, it's really impressive. I mean, but I think he dials it back a little bit sometimes, just like I say, like he's a 6-year guy, like a veteran NBA player. Allen's 18. He doesn't have to dial anything back. And so I don't know. He worries me a little bit more, frankly.
Hey, we'll get you out of here on this, Sip. There is the other dynamic as the season comes to an end and the coaching search is getting close to wrapping up. There's the guy that's the interim head coach that has kept this together for a while. And I thought Mickey had started to wear on him, where you don't have much of a chance. You're fighting hard, but you don't have enough when you're playing Michigan. And I kind of sensed that in the postgame. And then he was really upbeat on Tuesday, and he was back to being Mickey. That smile, honesty, transparent. He's got energy. He's laughing with everybody. He's kind of, he's telling the story. And it's admirable what he's been able to do, along with the rest of the guys on that coaching staff, to keep all of this together, because this could have turned into a complete debacle, dumpster fire, guys leaving. They've had one player leave, through this all. They've had one player leave their recruiting class through this all. But there's the thing, and we just lost it.
Yep.
Ooh,
that's too bad.
Well, especially since he said I'm about ready to get hit by a semi.
Yeah, hopefully that's not what happened.
All right. Well, I had a good question. I will save that. We'll take a break. Just I'll text Sip just to make sure he's okay.
Yeah,
that went quick.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That'd be awful.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
And we just maybe lost the connection. I think he's a burner phone guy.
Those flip phones aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, and there's some places where the cell service in Lincoln is not good.
I can vouch for that. Yeah.
All right. So that was fun for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll make sure Sip is
Save
all
that
right.
question for next week, Gary, because that was going to be an award-winning question.
It
That
sounded
was going to be on the tape that we sent to the Nebraska Broadcasters Association.
It sounded like you were winding up for a
No,
doozy.
I'll just put it out there. I'm getting this now. Is whatever happens to Mickey, you better do right by Mickey.
Yeah,
you better do right by Mickey. Well, what does that mean? Yesterday we were talking about what's the ideal role?
Yeah.
Now I get you better do right by Mickey. Well, what do you think the guy who entrusted his football program that could have been in disarray to take it over is not going to do right?
Yeah, I mean it can be tricky in this situation because of so not only are you having to work back channels and things like that to get your next coach, but you also probably want to be as transparent as possible with the guy that's keeping your program together, but at the same time not give so much away that either you're trying to keep a lid on this thing as much as possible as well. So it's kind of a real tightrope Trev has to walk here. I think the process of hiring the coach is harder to do right by Mickey than what happens next.
This is the transition here as the season comes to an end and you got to make a hire. Remember, I always say take the emotion out of it. Now the business part of the world hits you. That college football is a business. That job is a business. Because there's going to be some people that are going to be sad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's normal. But now here comes the business part of I'm making a business decision with no emotion in it. And I get, well, they better do right by Mickey. They're gonna take care of him on what he wants.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another phrase of this is what he wants. Okay, what we want and we assume may not be what he wants. So got to be careful in just assuming that this is what Mickey wants if by chance he doesn't get a job that he would really like.
Yeah, there's a couple things there. One, what we want for Mickey and what Mickey wants for Mickey may not be the same thing. So that's something to keep in mind here. And the other thing, you mentioned it's a business decision. That's absolutely true. And you don't want to have the emotion in part of the decision. But I think you need to bring back in the human side of it when you relay those decisions to the people involved.
And they will. Good leaders.
Yes.
They're able to combine both.
You make the decision without the emotion, but you relay the decision with empathy.
All right. I haven't heard from Sip yet, so hopefully he's okay. Coming up, Ask Us Anything at 9:30. And then Brian Edwards as well on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard Sense qualified technicians is just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts. Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $20.10 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/career. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10 and doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction, Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
Hurry into Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchase. Or shop Tempur-Pedic and save $500 on select adjustable mattress sets. Plus, get a $300 instant gift. Mattresses and bases are in stock for fast delivery. With our Love Your Mattress guarantee, get the lowest price and 120 nights to sleep on it. Only at Mattress Firm. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover. We'll help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
At the United States Postal Service, we're here to deliver fast and reliable service to help you get holiday ready. We offer free package pickup and deliver free shipping supplies to your address. So whether you're in Garland, Texas, Rudolph, Wisconsin, or anywhere in between, we're making it easier for you to spread festive cheer this holiday season. USPS, delivering for America. For all your holiday needs, including info about free shipping supplies, free package pickup availability, and restrictions, go to USPS.com/holidays.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect some significant delays from 156th all the way to 132nd along Dodge. Then on Industrial Road, be prepared for some major delays from 149th to 138th. And on Highway 370, it looks like things are slowing down only a little bit from 60th to 42nd. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Pulling in the holidays with Saul's. All jewelry in stock up to 50% off. Ladies' diamond rings starting at $89. Earrings starting at $39. Gemstone rings starting at $89. Pulling in the holidays with up to 50% off jewelry at Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
From sports medicine to spine, bone, and joint problems, Nebraska Medicine is your home for the region's most comprehensive orthopedic care. Our specialists have the unmatched expertise to diagnose and treat common and complex problems, with surgery being a last resort. With multiple locations, our leading care is miles ahead, yet close to home. For orthopedic advances, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/ortho.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
The holidays are coming, and what's better than the gift of spending time together? And Tickets for Less and ticketsforless.com is going to help you. You can find tickets to all the best live sporting events, concerts, and holiday shows, and you never pay extra per ticket fees. Plus, you can save even more at ticketsforless.com when you use the promo code THEZONE at checkout for an extra discount on your order. That code again is THEZONE. It's good site-wide at ticketsforless.com, or you can call Tickets for Less at 402-398-1999 and redeem the code over the phone. Secure your tickets and save with Tickets for Less.
Shingles add beauty, protection, and value to your home. You want CertainTeed shingles. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is a certified CertainTeed shingle master. When it comes to your roof, CertainTeed shingles and Carp's have you covered. Online at carpsomaha.com.
It's time to find a career that's right for you. Metropolitan Community College can help you find a new path forward on your time. Whether you need a degree that puts you on a path to a new career or need to finish a degree you've already started, MCC makes it affordable and convenient with a flexible class schedule, online or on campus. It's your time to path forward. Let MCC show you the way. Register today. Classes start December 1st. Apply today at mccneb.edu/adults.
Everyone deserves to be connected. That's why Cox has high-speed internet to fit any budget. Stream, chat, and connect at an incredible price. You're probably thinking, wait, what? But yeah, it's true. Learn more at cox.com/ACP. Non-transferable, one per household. Application and eligibility decisions are made by the FCC. Other restrictions apply.
Steve Sipple breaks down the Michigan game and previews the Wisconsin game tonight at Holy Ghost Church on 52nd and Q. Doors open at 5, program starts at 7, and it's only $10 for adults and $5 for children. Sponsored by Jones Barrel Company and Ray Martin Company.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, Ask Us Anything is coming up at the bottom of the hour. You still have time to get in your questions, a question or two. To Jimmy at 1620thezone.com.
Already have a good one.
Anything. We got one on Twitter. I'll have to send to you as well. I guess we've never solicited them on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people
We've gotten some in the comments before.
Send in the tweets.
Okay.
The tweeters.
The tweeters?
Yeah, I like to call them the tweeters sometimes.
All right, well, if you would like to tweet it, Ask Us Anything.
Bill Snyder used to call it Tweedledee.
What, a incredibly old man didn't understand the internet? That's shocking to me.
I mean, he was 174 years old. Come on.
I want to be in my 90s and still be tweeting.
I mean, if Twitter
yeah, that's right.
If Twitter still exists, then
you know what? If I was,
we'll be on to pretzel by then.
If I was like an employee at Twitter and I was losing my job, or Twitter is wherever it's at now, why don't we bring back MySpace?
People have tried that a couple times.
Yeah, but now we got people that were at Twitter that no longer employed. Why don't we get to MySpace?
So here's the trick about Twitter, right? Is MySpace kind of overlaps with Facebook a lot in terms of what the format was. Twitter is kind of unique in its format. So they need to just go over to, I don't know, what was the other one? Mastodon? Was that the other one people told you about?
Yeah.
All the ex-Twitter employees just need to go over to Mastodon or one of those places, just turn that into the new Twitter and get off and running. It's the way to go.
It's like how all the people from Deadspin left and they went to another one when they wanted to write about sports.
Oh. I mean, we keep this alive. So yeah, I want to be tweeting like in my 90s, just old man tweets.
I'll still follow. I'll subscribe to those.
Just random stuff you see as a 90-year-old.
You got to take pictures though too. I need pictures. I need the 4 p.m. dinner blue plate special. Got to see what you're eating. Yeah. All the good stuff.
Potatoes and peas.
The 4 a.m. wake up.
I have never tweeted out. I think I'm going to say never. Never tweeted out picture of food.
Well,
it's not that person.
Tweeted out. I have like Instagrammed before. I think the Instagram is a more acceptable place for food pictures. I think that's kind of where you go for your food pics if you're into that scene. But yeah, I don't know that I've tweeted food before.
We have basketball tonight right here on the Zone. Creighton and UC Riverside. I go back a long way, long time rivalry.
Yes.
They will meet at the Chai.
Bitter rivals.
The
most hated it.
Last time before Creighton goes to the Maui Classic.
Yeah, it's coming up.
And then Nebraska and St. John's play at 5:30. Fred has once again said this is a likable team.
Is it a good team, though?
Well, does wins matter? Or does your place in the Big Ten matter?
I think at this point for Fred, wins need to matter. Yeah.
Well, he's got 2. So are we talking 14, 15 wins? Because the schedule now gets real. I mean, 26 of the 31 games are against high majors. They don't have an abundance of bye games. They've had 2 bye games. They got Queens coming up. They got Arkansas Pine Bluff. So they didn't go all, which would have been, give credit to Fred. I mean, in a year that you're trying to save your bacon and maybe wins matter, you just load up on Cupcake City, and he didn't.
Here's the question, though.
It could either work for you in your saying, hey, look what we're doing, or it could work against you, and sometime in January it just hits the wall of what you've played in mid-November to mid-January.
Here's my question, though. They've lost enough bye games that does it look worse if you say you get 8 bye games in here? If
that would be a ton.
That would be a ton. Or at least 8 cupcakes, whatever. You go soft for 8 to 10 games.
If I was the Big Ten and Nebraska had 8 bye games, I'd kick them out of the league.
Let's say you go heavy on a cupcake schedule, all right? And you drop 3 of those games. Does that look worse than if you go with a big boy schedule and you drop 5 or 6 of those games? I don't know. Like, that's the question you're looking like. I don't, because Nebraska has a history of losing bye games, I don't know how safe of an option that even would have been. It could look worse too, even if you end up with a couple more wins, it could look worse than just going all in on a real schedule and then doing your best.
Oh, this is like a game that this is the first test of Fred's offseason where he shifts the conversation to the fans are going to like this team, and this is a team that likes each other and they'll stay together. Because this will be the first game that definitely stresses them at some point.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
just curious to watch. It's the national game where you don't have to hop on an app to watch. So this will be really the first time that people are watching Nebraska basketball.
Well, I was wondering, because you asked 14 or 15 wins. What number is a good number? I don't even really have a feel for that.
I think it's where it's a place in the Big Ten.
You don't think it's a number of wins?
Well, then you could go, well, you had a win against Maine and Omaha. And I think it's a place in the Big Ten.
So where is it, like top 10?
If you're 10, if you could get to 10th in the Big Ten, I know that the bar is low. But
that's a massive improvement.
Yeah. You're, Jesus, if you could get out of playing the first day. But I think 10 is where you're headed.
Because asking to get in the top half is too much. That's way too much.
Yes.
In a good Big Ten.
Unless just crazy things happen and all of a sudden this team takes off and they play well and they win some games they're not supposed to, but there's no history of that. But if you got to 10th in the Big Ten this year,
you're probably in good shape.
Yeah, you're still in the neighborhood of some familiar teams you've been living with. Minnesota, Penn State, Northwestern. If you are 10th in the Big Ten and you have to sit down at the end of the year and go, okay, Fred, have a seat. And you say, hey, not going to focus on the win-loss record because, hey, look at our schedule. We played some tough teams, but it got us ready to make improvements in the Big Ten where we moved up from 13, 14. We got to 10th, and we did it with a roster that won't be completely turned over next year. That's all I can do for you, Trev. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I think they need to finish over 500. That's kind of the line I've had in my head, and I don't know why. But
so 15, 16 is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that would get you to 9th or 10th in the Big Ten, probably, right? Because you figure that's what 7,
8 wins in conference.
Yeah, that probably gets you to
8 and 12, 7 and 13 in the conference.
That probably gets you to 9 or 10, right?
Should be.
Maybe even a little better.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not. This is an overwhelming Big Ten year.
No, I think that probably is enough to save your job.
Here is Jason. Jason, welcome to 1620 The Zone.
Hey guys.
Hey Jason.
Jason here from Kansas City.
Hey Jason.
I don't know. I go back and forth on this coaching stuff. I mean, Gary, I remember you back in the day when Trevor Houston doesn't left Fayetteville. What's going on? Where is he? Are we right? I mean, my question is are we at the K-State level of the 1980s? I mean, sometimes I get the sense that things are so bad that it's a total rebuild, and whoever turns this around, this may be the greatest turnaround since Bill Snyder. Do we have to find a Bill Snyder?
No.
It's
not, Jason. It's not that level. There are some things inside of the program and on the roster that are broken, but the whole program is not broken.
Good. I mean, because I don't believe it is.
No, it is not.
Some
it is
people
not.
that feel like, hey,
No.
we're going to have to go through our long couple losing seasons to get to that bowl. I'm not in that camp. Like, I mean, there was at a point one time where I thought you could come in and win 9 games, but they've lowered the level so bad. I truly believe you can come in and win 6 games. I mean, college football is down to that level. I mean, you play 3 cream puffs, and you can eke out 3 conference wins. I mean, I think Mickey would have got it done if he would have started the season as a coach. But he could have got 6.
It's an interesting point. No,
I mean, who wants to go through 2 losing seasons?
Well,
after we've already experienced between Riley's last couple of years at Frost, I mean, we want to go through that just for a promise that we may make a bowl, 3rd year of a new coach. I don't know.
No,
I'm in the Mickey camp. I always said I think I don't want to turn her back a second time. We turned her back on Frank. Mickey seems like he actually get information on what he sees. Like say the transfer portal versus junior college. Yeah, you want to build your base with high school recruits, but he tells you don't know what you're getting, what kind of agenda you're getting with a transfer portal kid, and he can recruit. I mean, I'm good with him, leading the way, because I just don't know with these other guys if they're willing to do what it takes. But we got a guy in Mickey that he'll do what it takes. But my buddy's coming all the way from Boston. We're going to fill it up. Part of that packed house.
Hey.
We're ready to get see a victory. I mean, I thought we were going to see a 4-4 quarterback.
Hey.
We have got a coach that doesn't hide. He's playing. He's not.
All right, Jason, we got to.
I don't know what's going on.
Jason used a good call. They had terrible sell.
Yeah.
I mean, people, let's invest in better cells.
Also, okay, let me just start here. Kansas State in the 80s won 4 games in 5 years.
Yeah,
people forget how.
No, it's not. Don't even. This conversation is not happening. Okay, this is a bull crap conversation. Nebraska football is not like K-State in the 80s. Okay, we're not even going there. Okay, so on to the next thing.
Yeah,
sorry to jump on you guys, but this would be ridiculous.
No,
radio
I see your point.
To even go any further.
Yeah,
and whoever Jason is listening to, Jason needs to disown them. If it's his wife, he should get divorced. Kick her out of the house. Okay, that's not true.
No,
okay?
It's not even close. I mean, it's not even
said,
close.
There are things that are wrong with Nebraska football, but Nebraska football is not at the bottom where you just don't see any moving up. And the way college football is today with the roster and the immediate eligibility is you can make programs pop quicker.
Yeah.
And anybody that comes in here, and I get Jason's sentiment about Mickey, and that's what a lot of people have is, man, Mickey's a grinder. Mickey hits every hot button that Trev wants. Well, I'm sure Trev is very aware of that. But if Trev is making a decision, whoever he chooses, they have to hit all of those buttons as well. And somebody coming in here, he's going to have already a sense in vetting them and sitting down with them and a long discussion. It's not like when you interview for a college football job that it's just like an hour.
Right.
These are long conversations that go over all of the details of a football program, how you think, what we got, how I think.
Yeah.
That when it's all said and done, and before you get to making an offer, it's not like you make an offer and then you sit down. You have the interview and then the offer comes. I mean, that's business 101. Is you already know if that person in front of you has the mindset to do what it takes and what it's going to entail to be successful at Nebraska with everything that you're putting on their plate and everything that you have to offer them and all of the things that are there for their disposal to be successful. So college football, what do we see? Things are popping, at least in year number 2. Okay.
I mean, Josh Heupel.
The right fit, the right hires, smart recruiting, development.
Identity.
I mean, we saw in a short amount of time, there are guys that look better on defense than they did before Bill Busch came on.
Yeah.
Okay. There's going to be another round of those guys with a new coaching staff that's going to be, well, where have they been? And all of a sudden they're here.
Yeah.
You're going to get the new coach bump. Okay.
Sure.
Guys that may all of a sudden go, woo, here we go. So it's not what was mentioned, and it's not there's a ways to go. I keep saying it's a lift. It's going to be a serious lift.
It's a big job.
But it's not impossible.
Well, and the infrastructure at Nebraska to be successful at football is there, right? The results haven't been there, and there are some things within the program itself that have been broken. But
and people have been entitled.
Sure,
okay?
yeah.
Hey, not what I can do for you, but hey, what can Nebraska football do for me?
Sure. It's been more about, not how I can lift up Nebraska football, how Nebraska football can lift up me and what I want to do. But the infrastructure from, okay, you've got an AD that you trust now. You've got the NIL structure in place. You've got the facilities. You've got the fan base. All of the infrastructure that you need to be good at college football is there. The results haven't been there. And the only real negative about this job, in my opinion, is, okay, you don't have the huge in-state talent base. Outside of that, if you look across the country, Nebraska checks all the other boxes of the places that are good at football. So it is a very doable job, but you're right. It is a big job. And to me, I know people love Mickey. That's why I push back on Mickey so much, is because of how big of a lift it is. I want somebody that's done some lifting like that before, where just has some experience at the Power 5 level doing anything in the neighborhood of what we're asking them to.
This is part of the whole, it's a big lift. You're going to have to reprogram. You're going to have to reprogram Trev Alberts, okay, with the person that's in charge.
Sure.
How everybody thinks, how everybody acts. We talk a lot about the infrastructure before we ever get to the actual football stuff.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day matters.
A lot of the football stuff is broken.
Yeah. So that's where you have to lift first. But it's media, fans. Everybody's going to need a reprogramming in the transition from 22 to 23.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing with a new voice.
It's a total culture reset from top to bottom, from AD to head coach to players to boosters to media to fans to everybody.
But you know what keeps me encouraged here is I look at the current crop of how they've responded to all of this, is there are guys that want that.
Absolutely.
They absolutely want that.
I would guess the vast majority want that.
Yeah. And they are longing. And Mickey, in a role where he's not the guy, has tried that. Okay. And there are some guys that are, here we go. Yeah, I get it. I needed that. I wanted that. And there are people that are longing. There are people in that building in North Stadium that are longing to be reprogrammed. And so that's the first step. And once you start that, then we'll get into the football stuff of, okay, now we got to be better at this position. We got to fill that gap because we don't have anybody as backups, all of that stuff. But that's where the lift to me gets larger, because you got to, before you peel back the layers and you start talking about the football guy stuff, you got to take care of the football mind stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I know people hate this buzzword, but you have to reset the culture. That's all it is. And I know it's one of those words that people get really triggered about, but that's what it is. There's people, like you said, in the building, on the roster, that crave the accountability that comes with that, and they just haven't been given it. And they want the structure and the instruction to be good and successful again. And whoever comes in and provides that has an opportunity to be successful here.
Here is random Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hey, what's the deal with 5 and 7 teams the last few years? Have a few of them got the bowl game opportunity?
Yes, due to APR.
And Nebraska is really good in that category, right?
They have been, yes. That's how they got to the Mike Riley Bowl
in year one, right? Yeah.
So that's still a possibility if we win the last 2 games.
Yeah, I'd have to look where I actually, Mike, I stopped looking. I'll look, but yeah, I mean, all of that's a possibility. But I think
I
think a lot of them are going to be filled.
I know I know it sounds crazy, but if Logan and Thompson are both significantly healthier, don't you agree? We got a decent shot at both games.
Definitely, if Casey is healthy.
Yeah, I was really angry when Logan didn't start, but then when I found out he was hurt and he wasn't 100%, they didn't want to get him hit. But they said Logan's feeling a lot better. And hey, if they're both semi-healthy, use them both, because Logan, don't you agree? If they use his speed, that could give any team problems, like it gave Iowa problems last year.
All right, Mike, we're playing OC on the radio, but the real OC, do you have trust that he'll be able to have both of those
game for Logan?
Have both of those guys have a package and be successful?
Do I have confidence? No, but hey, Mickey, he's still the head coach.
No, we've done this, Mike. We're too far down the road now. This is the whip game,
and that's where we miss Frost. Don't you agree in that area?
Well, I think where you miss Scott on the offensive side of the ball is run game concepts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gary, let me ask you this. The high school games you did on TV, which did you enjoy the most?
Which game?
The football games you did on TV this year, which did you enjoy the most?
Probably Millard Southwest side.
Yeah, I agree. That was so much fun to watch. Can you get that? You know what? Ross Jernstrom does the West Side games. Did you know that?
Yes, he teaches the journalism classes over at Westside, and they've got a great young crew. Shout out Max and Jaden.
Can you get your guys' game on the internet?
It is, yes, on the internet. One night it's free. The other night, I believe it's behind a paywall.
Okay, hey, one more positive thing. This could be the year for Creighton men and women. Don't you think the women look fantastic?
Yeah, the Creighton women's team is incredible. They probably didn't get enough credit coming into the season. I think a lot of people thought the Elite Eight run was a little fluky, but they returned a lot of players from that run, and that's a really good deep team.
Where do they play UConn?
The first one's at home.
Will they play them twice?
I believe so. Yeah, they play everybody in conference twice.
Hey, this year they might have a shot. What do you think?
Yeah, they pushed them as well as anybody in conference did last year. They really pushed them on the road when they played last year. The tough part about the first one this year is it's right after they go out to current number 2 Stanford. So that's going to be a really tough stretch there. They go at Stanford, UConn at home, and then at DePaul. Those are all 3 really good teams. So that's going to be a tough stretch.
Do you agree they look really well coached?
Yeah, I mean, Flan's great. Flan's really good at what he does, and he's got a team that really fits what he's asked them to do.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, Mike. On brand.
All over he covers a lot of ground there.
Here is Jay. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
I got a quick question. I'd like to, I don't want to say challenge, but that's the only word I can think of. While we're thinking about the coaching search and thinking about the current state of Nebraska football, I think there's some very poignant questions that the journalism group or crew or whomever, all of these online services, everybody needs to compile their efforts to ask this simple question to Trev or whomever can answer or will answer. At what point, I don't know if they can answer, but at what point did Scott Frost lose everything? Because I don't believe he came into this job, running it like, you know what I'm saying, the worst high school program to exist. I think he came in really excited and gung-ho to turn this thing around.
He did.
I'd like to know, what flipped? What changed everything to get us to the point where we are literally hearing stories about the program being, in shambles, with all the money that flows into it, with all the attention that it gets. How can a program at this height be ran so low? And at what point did we get there? And the reason why I believe that question is so important is because we don't want to go back again. Mm-hmm. We want to avoid it with everything that we possibly can. And when we make this next hire, that type of information or those questions needs to be answered.
Jay, Yeah,
Go ahead.
Jay, and that's a great discussion. We're going to run out of time today, but we're going to keep this alive. When do you think that it flipped for him and it started to go downhill?
I don't know. I think maybe after the first season or the first time, or I would say like, you remember the Michigan game, right?
In the first season?
Where I don't remember the exact number of season. Please forgive me. When we got to Michigan, it got whacked.
Yeah,
right?
it
looked
was first season.
terrible.
Yes.
I feel like at some point he realized that across the field that these guys were smarter than him. They had more experience. And I feel like there's an internal, like a going joke, right? Like this guy thinks he's a hot shot. So every single one of these mature coaches in the Big Ten just take their turns beating the brakes off of it. I think he just lost hope. I think he saw the writing on the wall. And I don't know what happened internally though. Because, even in that case, you would think that he would just try to get smarter, not get smarter like in his mind, but get smarter staff-wise. Like just get more people around him that can think and help him, work his way through games. But, I mean, you didn't even see like that type of effort. You didn't feel like that type of effort happening when things were like before our eyes going down. And shout out to the journalism staff, or everybody that covers Husker football, because you guys had us thinking that everything was okay. You know what I'm saying? And you had to know that it was as bad as it.
Okay, so Jay,
you know what I mean?
so Jay, a couple of things here. When they looked at the Michigan game, that was game number 3, and that hit them where, oh man, strength and conditioning is going to be huge. Okay, so there wasn't the dread of that's only the 3rd game that we've coached at Nebraska. They were still hopeful because they knew the challenge they had, especially physically, and they were also confident enough that their systems would take over. The other part of that about, how we were all saying, there's a lot of us, Jay, that we heard stories, and especially in this offseason, and this is me personally, that when I would hear something, I would like, there's no way that's going on. I do not believe you that that's going on, because that can't be allowed to happen. That's BS what you're telling me. Well, they were actually telling me the truth, and I didn't want to believe it because I thought it was so off the wall of things that were going on and not having accountability. I didn't want to believe it because I just didn't think you could do that in a major college football program to find out that stuff's true. So that's a little bit of, and I know the pushback against the media. You knew this. How come you didn't tell us? There's a lot of us that were like, I didn't believe it because it was so off the wall. Well, now down the road, you're like, Jesus, that really did happen.
Yeah.
But Jay, we got to move on. I appreciate the phone call. We'll keep that question out there because the first thing that came into my mind, and I know I'm going to do that call and that question to service because we got a couple of things coming up here. The COVID year. The challenges of off the field in connecting with players when they were trying to figure things out that were going on in our country.
Yeah.
Then trying to play a football season. And then remember stuff that went on the field where you maybe thought, why did we do that?
Yeah.
And then remember a big point at the end of that year, speaking of a bowl game.
And they decided not to go.
Who wanted to go to a bowl game and who didn't want to go to a bowl game?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to my mind. That's a good call by Jay, and a great question. And we will keep that. That's something we will maybe revisit next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just real quick, the first thought that came to my mind was between year 2 and 3, because they hyped up year 2 so much. Is like, hey, we're coming at you in year 2, and when that didn't pop, when they lose 5 of their last 6 to end year 2, and then they go into COVID and the COVID year, I think that's where they realized maybe it wasn't happening.
All right. Ask Us Anything is coming up. For people that are wondering, Sipple is okay. He said the line just zapped out.
Okay, good.
All right. So Sip didn't get into a car accident or anything like that, even though during the course of our interview, he said, I'm about ready to get hit by a semi. And then shortly thereafter, the line goes.
Yeah, not a great look, Sip. Come on, man.
Feel a lot better now.
All right. Ask Us Anything coming up next. Brian Edwards as well on 1620 The Zone. Hey, now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code ZONE. You know the FanDuel app. If you already have it, it's safe, secure, super easy to use, especially the live betting. You can from sport to sport. Now, if you don't, sign up today. Use the promo code ZONE for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code ZONE. You can make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 over, present in Iowa. First on the real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable. Free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
I'm going to bury a take in here. S'mores are overrated.
Whoa! What kind of a monster are you? Explain yourself. Show your work, Connor.
Melted marshmallow, guys?
Delicious.
No. Not really. Not really at all. Why? Marshmallow is not a good thing. Marshmallows aren't good.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A chance for a quick hit of light snow or flurries Thursday morning, mainly before 9 a.m. Otherwise, expect a windy and cold day ahead with mostly cloudy skies. Highs will top out around 30 around lunchtime, then slide into the 20s later in the afternoon. Wind chills in the teens. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
If you are looking for a better college fit or have completed a 2-year degree at a community college, transfer those credits to College of St. Mary and finish your degree faster. We've made transferring easier than ever. With our 2-week transfer evaluation, you'll know your credit transferability and financial aid package to College of St. Mary in just 2 weeks. And we'll help you determine all scholarships or grants available to you. Take the next step to completing your degree faster. Transfer to College of St. Mary. Apply today at csm.edu.
There's no other way to say it. Divorce is a punch to the stomach.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
When you're going through a divorce, there are so many things to deal with. Aside from the emotional aspects, the financial issues that go along with a divorce can be just as difficult. You'd think buying a house while you're going through a divorce would be out of the question, but not in all cases. Many lenders will tell you that isn't possible, but Mortgage Specialists helps people who are going through a divorce on a regular basis. Just ask Philip Katz.
As soon as they can nail down that they'll be approved for a mortgage or so forth, it just relaxes them a lot because they know that kind of the foundational pieces of their security and the continuity are in place.
Whatever the goal, Mortgage Specialists can help you reach it. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-897-4400. That's 800-897-4400.
dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duck Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. Cleanairradio.com.
Make it a great fall season. Head to KuglerVision.com today to request a consultation.
1620 The Zone.
I know. All right, time for Ask Us Anything. You ask Ravi and myself questions. We try and answer them the best to our ability, and you win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. If you have the best question of the week, 173rd and Center, Lakeside Plaza, that's where you get all the infotainment. They'll be open early for the game on Saturday morning for 11 a.m. kickoff for Nebraska and Wisconsin. Then you got all the football, a great place to go to watch all of the games.
Great food.
You can go watch basketball tonight.
Great food.
Yes. Wings, pizza, beer is always cold.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I always tell people you might bump into somebody you would not expect to be there, especially on their lunch hour.
Yeah, there you go.
Takeout only 162nd and Maple.
I've never been to that one. I've never done the takeout only.
Well, they don't want you to go there and there's like hang out in the lobby.
Sure, yeah.
Well, hey, that's where Omaha's growing, baby.
Northwest.
We got churches out there.
Yeah.
I live close to one of them.
We
I
got a
need to go.
Costco that's going to be out there.
Yeah.
Got a high school that's out there. That's where, man, everybody is going to that 162nd and Maple area.
I'm excited for the Costco. Maybe they'll take some of the people away from my Costco, make it a little less crowded over there.
Or at least cars that want to get gas.
Yeah,
That's a brilliant idea to build a Chick-fil-A right next to a Costco.
Terrible. Traffic in that parking lot is a disaster.
I know. I always try and time my visits to like grocery stores when I know that there are going to be less people there.
Yeah,
that's smart.
That Costco on Dodge, there is no way you can time it where it's going to be
snowstorms.
I'm not really. I don't think that's not the first thing I think about in a snowstorm. I'm going to Costco.
But it's true, Robbie.
It is now.
Snowstorm, nobody's there.
I had to go once.
Huh.
It's the only time I could go, and there was nobody there.
It's great.
And I live close enough to it that it's not like not a hassle to drive there. That's my go-to now. If it snows, it's like, let's go to Costco. Go to get a hot dog.
You never have to worry, rain or shine, to go to Oscars. All right. First question.
Oh, this is good. It's like you guys know what's coming. Is the Costco hot dog the most affordable or most expensive hot dog you can buy? Generally, there are a few $100s spent before getting to said hot dog.
That's a fair point. I will say on multiple occasions, I have gone in just for the food. Like if I'm like, I got a half hour, I want to grab some lunch, I'll hop into Costco, get a slice of pizza, get a hot dog.
Maybe do the samples first.
No, I don't. No, I don't. You can't go. No, once you start going through the store, you're going to spend money.
Yeah, it's over.
You got to stay in the little cafeteria area only if you're trying to make this a cheap hot dog trip. If you get into the aisles, it's in the weeds, man. It's over.
It is. It is expensive hot dog.
It can be.
Yeah, because you don't go to Costco and spend like $1 or $5.
I don't think I've ever got under $200.
That's what they want you to do. It's like Target.
It's genius.
You know how many people say you're going to go to Target and you're just going to get one thing?
Never.
And you walk out of Target and you're like, how do I have like 4 bags?
How did I spend $100?
Yeah.
Literally happened to me 2 days ago.
So yes, it is the most expensive hot dog that is out there.
Yeah.
But now Sam's is $138.
Yeah.
Save 12 cents. You never know when that,
listen, I'd spend the 12 cents on gas getting to Sam's. Just the distance, so it's still cheaper for me to go to Costco there.
Team Costco for life.
God, you know who's a great question for this is when Sauter joins us.
Yeah?
He's so damn frugal.
Is he?
Oh, he'll probably give up his Costco membership, now get a Sam's one so he can save 12 cents on a hot dog.
You're going to have to ask him this tomorrow.
Yes.
That's perfect.
All right, second question.
All right. Would you rather be someone's pet goldfish or a wild lizard? So we have some good ones today.
I'd rather be the lizard because you get out and you're probably going to be shared by their friends. You'll be let out of the cage. Like you're going to get a lot more attention than the goldfish.
Wait, no, this is a wild lizard, he said.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You're not a pet lizard.
You're a wild lizard. You're somebody's wild lizard.
No, I think you're a lizard in the wild.
That's how I take it in.
All right, read the question again.
All right, we'll get back to it. All right. Would you rather be someone's pet goldfish or a wild lizard?
Oh, or a wild lizard.
So you're out roaming the
Yeah, I
deserts
think
of
you're-
Arizona.
I'm still going to be a wild
I
lizard.
think you're in the wild.
I'm going to be okay. That's okay. That's where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to fend for myself. I'm going to eat a lot of stuff. I got the long tongue.
I think it depends on what kind of lizard you are.
What a boring life a goldfish is.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
not great.
Their
Although
lifespan not very good.
No.
You know, one bad move on the tank, the power goes out,
It's over.
plus you got
or the cat might eat you.
or you got dumb kids forget to feed you.
Yeah, you're done. The
Um,
lizard. You know, this whole thing. It's all about Nebraska football. Control what you can control. As a lizard, you can control it more than being somebody's pet
That's
goldfish.
true. As a pet goldfish, you are extremely dependent on
Yep.
on irresponsible
Yep.
ownership.
Bam. We
I
are in
would-
agreement
I
here.
would like to be a big lizard like a Gila monster, though. I don't want to be one of those little guys. No,
Oh,
no
no.
geckos for me.
Oh, no. Because then when it gets cold, you fall out of trees.
Yeah, I just won't go up a tree.
It's wild to see. You've never seen it before. Those things fall out of trees because they freeze up.
Yeah,
And then they hit the ground and you're like, oh. But yeah, then when it warms up, they're back to life. I mean, that's a
Actually-
pretty good gig to have.
I actually
Yeah.
saw that in
And-
Miami once.
And you're on TV commercials.
not terrible.
Yeah, but I'd rather be the wild lizard.
Yeah, I think so. That's the way to go.
All right.
Look up monitor lizards. They're nasty.
Question number 3. Good morning, gentlemen. This is from Cody. When we are young, the best day of your childhood is when you get your own room. Then you get older and have to start sharing again. This method just seems backwards. Also, both Robbie and Gary come off as guys that sleep in different rooms than their significant others. So what is the reason that we sleep in the same bed or significant other, not just for sex? Thank you.
Was that an editorial comment or was that part of the question?
I think that's part of his question. He just wanted to get that in there.
Well, for the record, I don't sleep in a separate room.
Okay.
We do share a bed. Also share a bed with a couple of the dogs, as we found out yesterday. I don't know why I think it's just companionship. I don't have a good answer for that. Why you share a room when you get older? I don't know.
You're supposed to.
My room's a lot bigger now than it was when I was a kid, so that helps. Also, when you don't have 2 beds in there, it leaves a lot more space.
Yeah.
That's part of the issue with sharing a room when you're a kid, is that it just gets real crowded with everybody's stuff, right? Now I got a whole house for my stuff. I don't got to worry about cramming it all in my room.
I don't live with my significant other, but
Yeah, I
mean, yeah, we're old enough. We're adults.
yeah, I don't have a good reason why it's
I have heard stories of a couple that was friends with my mom and dad. They couldn't sleep in the same bed, so they got married and they realized that the way they slept was just not good for either one of them. So instead of like buying a king or a queen bed, they bought 2 separate like double beds, so they could have their own bed.
I've heard of that, and it works for some people.
It was better for their sleep.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of people use separate beds. I've heard some people sleep in separate rooms because of weird sleep schedules and stuff like that. I mean, generally, I only will if one of us is sick.
Yeah.
Then I'll go. I usually go sleep in the other dog's room and hang out with them.
And they're happy to have you.
Yeah, and
Where's the cat sleep?
Cat has its own room.
Okay.
See, I also never had, like my brother, we were 7 years apart, so we never like slept in the same bed or anything like that.
No, I shared a room with my brother for a while, but we had separate. I think we had bunk beds for a while, and then we split them up. But I didn't share a room for terribly long. I don't think. My oldest sibling was like 9 years older than me, so people started spreading out when I was pretty young.
Chris says, back to our lizard conversation, the wild lizards around my house are basically always living their best life.
Yeah, it's like it seems like a very like chill vibe.
Yeah,
I could do that.
People aren't out to kill you.
I'm a tropical guy.
I mean, basically you have to look out for cars.
Yeah,
mowers,
not crossing a lot of roads. I don't think.
Large animals.
Yeah,
you're good.
Got to be careful there with
better than the goldfish.
Much better.
That was a good question.
Goldfish life seems
There
terrible.
are goldfish that have died as this segment has gone on.
Probably.
And then you have the ceremony with your kids, and they flush it down the toilet. And
That's how kids learn about death often, is the first goldfish.
Wow, this really escalated. Went from are we sleeping in the same bed to
where do you sleep forever?
Death and teaching kids.
I think that's a real thing. Like a lot of kids learn about death for the first time when their like pet goldfish dies.
That's true.
You bring it home from like the school fair in the bag.
Or your cat Herschel dies and you put him in a box and you bury him in the backyard. And like 6 months later, you're curious. So you go when your parents aren't around and dig it up.
That's a bad move, man. Bad move.
Yeah, Herschel didn't look the same. Brian
More
Edwards.
ways than one.
Brian Edwards is coming up next. Tickets for Less, they can take care of you. You know, there's a lot of discussion about where you're getting your tickets, how many fees you're going to have. At ticketsforless.com, you never have extra per ticket fees. And with the holidays are here, there's a lot of stuff going on, whether it be sporting events or shows. And there's no better gift than spending time together. Ticketsforless.com. You can find tickets to all the best live sporting events, concerts, holiday shows, and you never pay per ticket fees. You can save more right now at ticketsforless.com. All you have to do is use the promo code THEZONE at checkout for an extra discount on your order. That code again, THEZONE, is good site-wide at ticketsforless.com, or you can call them today, 402-398-1999, and redeem the code over the phone. Secure your tickets and save. Use that promo code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com.
After Nebraska plays on Saturday, you'll wake up on Sunday morning with a severe reaction. Michael Severe returns to 1620 The Zone, and he won't hold back about what went right and what went wrong during the game. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours, Severe Reaction. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, only on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Severe for Ted and Wally's. You know, ice cream is the big thing that Ted and Wally's does. But you know what else? They have a bunch of memorabilia as well. They've been in business for 35 years. So you'd understand they'd have some pretty cool swag. And they do, from the hats to the sweatshirts to all kinds of things that have Ted and Wally's and the cool emblem right on there. So you can swing by and get that. And don't forget about the gift cards. The gift cards are there to make holidays easy for you. You want to go shopping and try to figure out what someone wants. You know what they want? They want ice cream. And they want ice cream on your dime. So swing by either of the locations, whether it is the one in Benson, right next to the Taste of New Orleans, or in the Old Market. You swing by, you get the gift cards, you get some swag, and people will love you. Why is the ice cream so special? 20% butterfat and a great tradition. 35 years of being in business and making ice cream the old-fashioned way. Swing by Benson, Taste of New Orleans, or the Old Market, and of course, tell them Severe sent you.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired their personal trainer as a caterer.
All right, folks, let's keep this line moving. You there with the tongs. Picking up one Duchess potato at a time will not cut it at my catering table. Drop and give me 50.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Okay, this is what we call the wild mushroom and asparagus dip, and press. Come on, let's get those plates above your heads.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, beat the largest timeshare company in federal court and has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-897-4400. That's 800-897-4400.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year, and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
1620 The Zone.
All right, another weekend of the college football slate. I'm not enamored with the card. This is that weekend for the SEC where they don't play each other, and you get to see UAB and Western Kentucky, and we get to talk to Brian Edwards, the senior handicapper for Vegas Insider. This is a tough card this weekend. There's not a lot of games that are jumping out at me.
Man, same page, Gary. I completely agree. I'll start with one that I do like, though. I like LSU now. It's 14.5 or 15 at last look. I think we're all right at those numbers, but I mean, if it's 14.5, might as well buy the half point to the key number of 14. So LSU 5-1 both straight up and against the spread at home this year. 4 of those victories coming by 15 points or more. UAB 0-4 both straight up and against the spread in 4 road games, losing at FAU, Western Kentucky, Rice, and Liberty. And regardless of home or away, the Blazers are mired in a 1-4 against the spread slump. So LSU was in that vintage letdown scenario last week. So, and then when KJ Jefferson didn't play, I mean, they caught a break, but at the same time, that probably made them a little more flat. And look, if Harold Perkins doesn't make, 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles, they lose that game. But, that was going to be a tough game regardless. And I expect them to bounce back with a better performance here because, with A&M struggling like they are, I don't think we can call it really a look ahead. So I think LSU takes care of business.
Staying in the SEC in one of those not so marquee matchups, you've got Auburn and Western Kentucky. I don't know. It's only Auburn, only a 5.5 point favorite. Do you like the line there? Is there a play there that you like?
Yeah, I'm going to go with over 52. Now, my over on Auburn A&M was a dud last week. I would have never been on that game if I had any inkling that Devin Achane, A&M star running back, was even slightly banged up, much less going to miss the game. But anywho, Auburn had hit 4 overs in a row prior to that with combined scores of 72, 68, 82, and 52. This is the Hilltoppers' lowest total since, it's their lowest total of the year. And they've had 3 totals in the 70s and 6 in the 60s. They've got a prolific passing attack that I think can be very successful against Auburn's defense. Although Auburn's defense played well last week, it was an anemic A&M offense without A-Chain. I am going to go over 52 here. Western Kentucky's had a lot of unders, but again, those totals in the 70s and 60s, and we're at 52 or 52.5 in this one.
Let's go to this is always an interesting matchup in this conference. Troy and Louisiana Monroe. You're focusing on the total. Troy is really good. They're 8-2. Louisiana Monroe is 4-6. This game's being played at Troy. What do you like about the total? Are we going over or under 48?
We're going to go under 48. The under's on a 5-0 run for Troy, and yet this is their highest total since October 1st. I haven't been playing these unders because I just have a hard time playing college total or unders in the low 40s. But we've got a total of 48 here. And during this 5-0 under run for Troy, their combined scores have been 19, 40, 16, 31, and 37. So all of them have been at least 8 points below. And 2 of them haven't even gotten halfway to 48. So, and the under 6-1 in their last 7. Troy's 9th in the nation in scoring defense, allowing only 16.7 points per game. And their games all year have averaged combined scores of 38 points per game. And we've got a total 10 points higher. Let's go under 48.
I want to go over to the ACC where, it's a major conference in the South where teams are actually playing each other. But Duke and Pitt. That number, a couple of teams having a good year. Pitt is favored by 7.5 at home. Where are you at on that one?
I'm going to go Duke plus 7.5. They've won 3 in a row, 2 of them on the road. Now, cupcake competition at Virginia Tech and at Miami, but they won both games comfortably by 17 and by 24. And they've been underdogs 4 times this year, 3-1, both straight up and against the spread. The lone outright loss in non-cover was a 7-point loss at Kansas, or I'm sorry, an 8-point loss at Kansas when they were 7-point dogs, so only by 1 point. QB Riley Leonard, 2,113 passing yards, 13-5 TDINT ratio, and he's run for a team high 624 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per carry average. Keaton Slovis has struggled for Pitt, 6-6 TDINT ratio. I'm confident that we have the head coaching advantage with Elko and also the quarterback advantage with Leonard over Slovis, and we're catching 7.5 against a team that's lost by more than 3 only once all year. So let's go Duke plus 7.5.
Hey, it's not on a game that you are picking with us, but what are your thoughts on Georgia, Kentucky? Georgia hasn't let off the gas. Kentucky just got beat by Vandy. They've lost 4 of 6. The game's in Lexington. The line is 22.5. I'm looking at it, but I'm thinking, man, this might be a play where Georgia shows no mercy right now.
Yeah, I made it 21, but I'm just not going to lay that many on the road. But I can't go. I mean, I went against Georgia 2 weeks ago with Tennessee. Didn't work out. I hate to say it, but I don't know that anybody's got anything for Georgia. I've heard a lot of people I respect on, like VSiN shows out in Vegas talk about how they only think Georgia's going to be like a 2.5 or 3-point favorite to Ohio State, if that matchup materializes. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? I would make Georgia favored by 7 over everybody, at least. And I would love Georgia -7 against Ohio State. Here's this one that I think I left off the email. I do like TCU minus 2.5 or at last look. If it's 3, that's fine. 10-0 straight up, 8-1-1 against the spread, unbeaten in 5 road games, 4-0-1 against the spread on the road. Baylor just got housed last week by K-State at home by 5 touchdowns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And TCU just seems oblivious to these tough spots and these week in, week out tough games. And now the defense seems to be coming around, kept Texas out of the end zone the whole game. And, Texas got the scoop and score defensive touchdown. But even after only scoring 10 last week, Texas averages 33.5 points per game. So that speaks to how well TCU's defense played. And that's been considered their weakness all year. Duggan, 25-2 TDINT ratio. Give me the Frog.
Hey, let's finish with the NFL. And Jared Goff being outdoors makes me a little bit nervous. Giants and the Lions at MetLife. Giants are a 3-point favorite. Where do you lean here?
I'm going to – no lean. I like the Giants. I'm all in on the Giants -3 here. Daniel Jones played good last week, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Saquon, 152 rushing yards. Detroit, I had the Bears last week. That game really killed me. Bears up 14 early fourth. They have a pick 6 and a missed extra point. And Detroit, to its credit, gets a road win. They got to travel 2 weeks in a row. And I think they're getting a little too much respect from the odds makers here, like the Giants -3.
All right, snap that 2-game Lions win streak. Beat, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great weekend as well.
That's Brian Edwards. You can follow him on Twitter, our good friend at Vegas B. Edwards. All right, that'll do it for another quality show. Hope you enjoyed the content. We made you laugh, made you think, made you cry, made you laugh.
Hopefully not cry.
Made you get angry at us.
Well, that happens most days.
And we try and keep that to a minimum.
Well, yeah, we don't want any angry people.
Anybody that we sleep with or do not sleep with are now angry about our description of we're in bed or not.
My wife doesn't listen to the show. It's fine.
Yeah. I just got an interesting text. So I might be coming to your place.
Hey, we got more room. You can sleep with the dogs.
For Jimmy, for Ravi, tomorrow at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village for the final time ahead of Nebraska and Wisconsin.